Okay, we are live. How are you all doing? People in the chat, people watching. If you're there. If you're not there, well, hey. Welcome to the Retro Requiem. I'm joined once again by my always star co-host Astro, and we got a special guest today, our boy Doc, Mr. Shattuck. How are you, sir?
Doing good.
All right. So, if you've seen the label, this is a tabletop episode. So we're going to do a lot of tabletop talk here. And as we're going to get right into the nitty-gritty. Dungeons and Dragons 3.5. How do you guys feel about it?
3.5? Yes, we have.
And none of the sessions have gone.
3.5 though was like the pinnacle of that's what they did. And then there's Fish, which you do not talk about.
No one likes.
Nobody else talk about Fish. I think 5e just
let's
talk about food. What's the new food? We play food.
And there's a good reason.
It's dumbed down way too much. And they OP'd a lot of things. They tried to redesign the game so that even if you're one single player, you know, it didn't have to be any group. If you had one single player, they could still accomplish tasks. But it overpowered each individual member of the group so much that it just derailed. That even if you did play the yeah, it was a failure. And then they tried again, 5th edition. Like I said, that's been controversial. Some people think it's
too simple,
but they are adding more detail back to it.
Right. From what you guys told me, because I haven't played 5e either, I kind of like the simplicity of it. It's great for bringing in new players. It's still complicated enough where, you know, it's not like... I've literally seen a game, and I forgot what it was called, but you don't use dice. It's almost also its own, and you play with rocks.
Rocks?
Yes. And that essentially represents your dice pool. And you use it for actions and such, for anything. You have a certain number of rocks, successes, failures. So, like, if you were to do something, you have these certain number of rocks per turn for their actions for your whole turn. And you essentially have, like, this circle. You insert them in. And you, like, okay, I need to do this. All right. I have a pool of 5. I use 3 because I really want to succeed with this. You risk reward, failure, success, but that's your pool for your turn. So if you needed to do something else, like dodge, like defend yourself, or something else, you only have those two stones left. Very simplistic. Super simplistic. There is some complexity because you have to kind of weigh risk reward. But what did you have? I never got to play it. We never got the game started. But it was just the idea of it, like, well, that's really simple.
You're like roll for shoots. Entirely D6s.
Right.
It was a great game. You've played my games before. It's just D6s against the GM. If you roll higher than him, you did that thing you wanted to do. It's very free.
I'm sorry, that was your first roll for shoes game. There's not a game that stops that.
I know. Sadly, I peaked on my first session.
But back to 3.5. I like 3.5. I haven't played 1.0 or 2.0. I haven't really had to play 3.0 either, although I have read some of the material.
I know really you're better off with 3.5.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's the same basic game, but they upgraded a little bit with 3.5.
Yeah, I mean, isn't 2 literally just playing 3 characters that are already pre-made?
That's good. 1.0 has no classes. Your classes are races, and there's only 3.
Yes, dwarf is class.
And your gender is already fixed.
Yep. You're a dwarf, you're an elf, or you're a human, which is the warrior, and that's it.
It's very Baldur's Gate.
Baldur's Gate is from that universe. It's predates home. You're talking early 70s, very fucking basements in New York and Chicago and the Midwest, and fucking low lit lights, and lots of fucking soda and pizza deliveries, and all neighbors being cool, and it became old school shag carpet.
So people were hiding their names because people would say they were sickness.
So you mean what we're doing on
No,
minus the statements part?
but we're a little bit more open about it, but still, like, it's a different time, and things are gotten more complex. 2.0 is where it kind of started going in the direction of what modern tabletop is.
This was originally called Advanced.
Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, yes, and that's when they added everything, classes. There's all these kind of differences between everything. One of these days, man, I might have to ask Richard if he doesn't want to keep it. He actually has a D&D 1.0 book. It's his mom's old fucking book. I might have to ask him for it one of these days. Like, oh, you're never going to use it. That'll be fun. Let me get a hold of it. I don't dislike 3.5. I just hate the idea amongst just tabletopers in general, particularly older people, that it's just like the standard bearer. You can't do anything better than that. Whoa. It's great. It's good. I still think there's a lot of flaws. My biggest complaint, still to this day, and this isn't just with 3.5. This is a Pathfinder thing. And it's a bunch of other systems too. I hate the lack of parity between playing a melee heavy character versus playing a magic heavy character.
I'll take a barbarian.
They're great.
It's so easy.
They're great. My thing is, if you're gonna play a melee class, you really need to know what the fuck you got going. Know what you're doing. I almost feel like playing a mage is easy mode. That's hard to fuck up. It's really hard to fuck up. Whereas it's easy to fuck up on a melee character.
I think it's a lot easier to fuck up than a magician. If you play anything a magic-based character, there are so many things you can forget. Or like remember wrong when you cast a spell, like and you're like, oh crap. That spell doesn't work that way.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not really complicated. I prefer something like Tartarian, simple melee. I think it's rage, and then I hit things.
I just hate like when you run into situations where it's like, hey, you need to hit this, but resistance, AC, math on all sorts of bullshit. Oh, no one has magic in the party? Really?
Why coordinates?
That can be a thing. And that's not hard to run into. There's a lot of monsters that can easily destroy whatever kind of party knowledge you're going on. So that's my big takeaway. Unless you have like a really heavy dosage of magical equipment or anything like that. I guess that really falls to the GM then.
Yeah, I built really good.
But I'm just saying, like, even so, like, if you don't use some of these better monsters, then things can get kind of boring. So
that's why it's not always so.
It's not a black and white thing, for sure.
Yeah,
but
I mean, you can't just be giving characters like in basic aspects for time to and then expect them to stand up against the freaking dragon with saying basic aspects.
No, it's not gonna work. Unless you have something.
There's nothing wrong with giving characters, magic weapon that can do this or that.
Even if it's just temporary.
Yeah, just to finish out this fight. And God knows, like, definitely enough plot armor on you guys because you guys characters just do too much for right now. You guys weren't fit for the actual battle, so
I mean, you have
some switch off some guys. Wait, right?
I remember what was. I remember, I believe in your game, going to our guy Astro's game here.
A story.
What we were running, I prefer story heavy games because it's more so. I'm less reliant on having to use combat for stuff. I'm more reliant on having to use skills for stuff. And then that kind of throws away some of the whole BS you can get to with, once again, natural armor, resistances. Oh, you're using a piercing weapon? Ah, you can damage this thing. And all that kind of stuff. Not everyone has a fucking monster encyclopedia in front of them so they can just cross-reference all this shit. Although, I guess if you're in a tabletop, you should have all this stuff on hand, whether it be digitally or hard. Like, well, okay, I need to know.
Even at that though, like, 'cause I've told you guys many times before too, like, if I throw something big at you, I'm gonna be afraid of it. Because all it really takes is a roll of perception where you can find. And if you roll high, you can find a weak point in your enemy's freaking shit.
And that is why I wish for a lot of points in perception.
It's always useful. You were running Pathfinder, right? That's true?
Yeah.
Okay, so back to his game. When we fought the tree in the junkyard.
Ah, yes.
Okay, so Tree was strong as shit. Like when we actually were fighting it, and we weren't using the things that he had set up for us to use to fight it. People were getting jacked up because it's a really strong monster. No one was really having a great.
Even one person was getting jacked.
I'm just saying, like if anyone was like close to it,
Yeah.
we got them all. Of course,
Do not even characters. Yeah. Was I Glenn out there for this?
somebody in there.
You like squid?
But the cool thing was, he set it up. This trap was in the middle of this old junkyard. There was gasoline barrels and oil barrels everywhere. There's shit.
Let's clarify something. My setting is post-apocalyptic future shit mixed with fantasy. So yeah, pretty much.
So, to help mitigate the difficulty of the battle, it's like, okay, well, if you guys use what's available to you, we'll just set the entire fucking field we're fighting in on fire.
First off, that was JT's. That was like extreme.
I mean, I did help.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's a good idea. I was thinking about doing something like that myself. Because I was looking for stuff to
I
make.
figured you guys would use shit. Shit, weapons to the extremities.
Hey, man, when you're in a fight in an RPG, you go full Joker, bro. Okay? Dark Rises.
Real talk, out of most of our other GMs and stuff, I feel like I gave you all the most interactive environment.
That, I believe when we fought the little crystal beast, there was something we could use there. I forgot what we did then. Was it fine? I think so.
I think it was, yeah, I think he's talking about Chris.
I think there was something we could use there with that one.
Oh, yeah, because I was trying to force you guys to freaking climb on top of this dude. Because one of y'all actually percepted and found a weak spot where
Yeah.
You literally had to do some shadow for lost shit. And it's like,
There was that.
See, that's balls told.
See? And I wanted you guys to take risks. That's why I kept on telling y'all, don't be afraid of what I touch. I just want you guys to have a big fan.
Of course, then there's a situation where you just find something by having stats. Chat is that door and pushing people up.
Oh, God.
Rounds. That was interesting. That stuff happens too.
We made so many jokes, especially like Game of Thrones and shit. Though.
But that's just one thing I hate about 3.5. I feel also it's a little rigid.
3.5.
A little bit.
My hang up on 3.5 is when cats tell me it's like you have the biggest class of path. And then they tell me, oh, there's the dust blade. It's literally the same thing, better. And I look at it, I'm like, no, it's not. I feel better about this. I see everything going down. That's
well, not letting them down, but obviously, half was saying 3.5. Saying
Pathfinder is pretty much just like D&D.
Power fantasy. Power fantasy.
Just upgraded a little bit more.
That is accurate. It's very powerful
Fantasy.
for your character class. It's like
Now, some classes are trash,
yeah,
but that's in any system. Like, there's a class that's very Magus-like class in Pathfinder.
talking about the archetype for
I don't think it's Magus, but it's similar in that archetype. And it's a magic heavy class, but it's like mostly buffs in a character. And it is not great. And it's not true. Because that's pretty much the extent of spells. Or like some character buffs. Pretty much. Yeah.
It's going to start being party.
And the problem is, but you only buff yourself. So what's happening when you're fighting enemies and it's like, hey man, we really use magic from our magic users.
You can like buff yourself.
I like it.
You're like support except
it's just like that. It makes sense on the spell set buff, but he also has a lot of area effect spells as well. So it's just strong as wizard.
This class did. It was like a really kind of swashbuckling, I can buff myself kind of class. Which can in theory, on paper, when you're playing an actual game, shit happens. So you're in a situation where it's like, yeah, man, hey, why don't you shoot the spell? It's like way over there, you can't get to it. It can shoot you, but you can't shoot it. Dude, aren't you a mage? I buff myself.
why do you buff your rage?
I can't do this.
Please have a spell to buff your rage.
Meanwhile, you have the other two magic weapons. I'm magic. And then, like, everyone else is like, well, I have a body. And it's like, I can't do shit. And it's like, dude, why would you pick a mage and not have attack spells? Because the class sounded cool. And you run into a lot of it too. But that's the mini system. And that was in Pathfinder and that.
Yeah.
But speaking of that, since we're moving on with 3.5, I don't think we have really much else to say. It's not bad. There's some flaws. It's an old system. It really has.
It's a little
bit more rigid. And it hasn't really been updated.
We're talking about D&D.
I'm about to move on to Pathfinder.
You're segueing.
I was just kind of closing up on 3.5, segueing into Pathfinder. I think probably the biggest issue with 3.5 is obviously, it is an old system. You can't really update it because they wouldn't be 3.5 anymore. But moving on to Pathfinder.
Pathfinder?
You can. We always have to. But it's a Pathfinder. It's a Pathfinder. It's a
Framework is nice.
I love it.
It's essentially made so you can like make your own campaign settings.
Yep.
Your own campaigns.
Yep.
You can put it in Wild West. You can put it in a setting.
I also like that. Well, then there's also like variant modules, obviously, like a Thera, which is sci-fi. But Pathfinder does give you the ability to just do what you want.
It gives you the office.
I also like that the guys that do Pathfinder recognize homebrew classes and skills and things of that nature. So if there's no like, hey, that's not official. It's like, oh, you throw it up on Paizo? All right.
The reason I want official is it's open for players made so people can
do what they want.
Make their own stuff.
And that's why I like it. I don't know if there's a lot of systems that do that. Where you can just, put stuff out there. You just accept it. Well, I've never really played Curse, but I heard Curse is good.
I have read up on it, talked to somebody who's played it. Korean system. I've had almost two open. It's almost like
like I remember my friends at the time. My friends at the time. I'm still friends with these guys. At the time, we were talking about it, and like they were talking about the player's guide for GURPS. And I said, "There's so much material they just have material because it's very open. So like they'll take a good idea and be like, okay, we're put in our player's guide." But at the time, this is like about 2005, 2006, right after high school for me. And like They were talking about garbage player guy being like, basically encyclopedia.
That sounds like it's turning into a costume.
Yes, but it was just basically just all stuff you could do with like skills, movies, characters, and also they fit. And then you can still just do more. And this is back then. Like they're like, yeah, fucking players back this is gigantic. It's like, dude, that's kind of intimidating. And I was like, no, it's really easy to play. It's just because they'll just take these ideas and use them. Because this is very interesting. So I've always been trying moves, but I've never had someone who actually wanted.
Yeah, while we're talking about 3.5 and Pathfinder, I would like to go ahead and don't let my envision how my great pet is. I hate alignments. I hate alignments.
We've had this discussion a lot of times. Yeah. It's the team.
They are too constricting. They usually just want leading up arguments over. You can't do that because that tells you your character's alignment. The only time alignments are really useful is if you say, or some kind of. So somebody who worships God. And that God is a certain alignment. See that being for God about a particular thing. So you have to stay within their alignment. They would do. But outside of that, what's the point? For the GM to just give you a hard time about what you clap down and kind of clap down.
And that's another thing.
Yeah.
Because if you're a full line character, if you have a spell that requires you to hurt the good person, it's supposed to be your challenge, channeling that people from yourself to hurt this good one person with that. Let's put that. It's there for rules. There's also supposed to be flavor for your character. I kind of feel like alignment should be more of a gray area thing, kind of like people where it's like, hey, I follow you, God. I don't necessarily have to be.
Even then, you don't necessarily have to do everything equal.
Yes, and also like when you watch a good fantasy movie, and you have a character, yes, you praise when you God. Now, if he's a prick, and he do fucked up shit, but say he doesn't always do it, like they're like, oh, characters, all backstabbers when he does things, right? But then it's like, well, I was also doing this for you. It is evil, but I didn't betray you guys.
You mean what I did was stuff?
That's what's
GM and change my alignments to move forward good because my character gave.
See, I tried to do shit like that, but John never did.
I mean, no, you need just a little bit more intervention. It's not really a life shit for like.
no.
I mean, you could have been like on the streets or something. He has a twinge of pity for somebody who's a figure out.
And that's what I'm saying. I feel like it's a gray area because it's
that way. Can I just like a hobo with a dollar and out all my stuff?
I mean, you even say it's like
Costs.
no.
Oh, sorry.
It's like, all right. So you see, I'll use Lex Luthor as an example. And Superman. Lex Luthor does things that are considered good.
What is he love?
He's a bad guy. He is an evil ass. But he would be lawful evil, right? But it's not like he doesn't do things out of the bounds of that every once in a while. Sometimes he'll go against his own code and morals and go, okay, I need to do something for the greater good because I don't want to die.
But that doesn't mean he's not like Luthor.
Exactly. He's still going to be an evil prick.
Like a sudden stabby man.
But sometimes he'll stay away from that. As a matter of fact, I just watched a movie recently where, matter of fact, the Death of Superman movie. DC animated film. Superman dies. And there's a part where the cyborg Superman is basically trying to take over the planet. He's actually working for Apocalypse. Well, not Apocalypse, but Darkseid. Thank you. He's working for Darkseid. And he's about to take over the Earth. And Lex sends some of the other Supermen find out, they're trying to stop you. So Lex actually legit helps them with no other motive but to help the planet out. Because he's like, hey, I don't want the planet to be taken over by this
Well,
fucking.
he's got to see Metropolis because he keeps.
Yeah, that too. But at the end of the day, if we were being by these stringent rules, you know damn well you'd have some GM out there and be like, nope, you were this time, you would not. Even if I'm doing something to protect my own interests, I can't go against 500. That makes sense. So I prefer to be more gray area. So one of the things I like about Windows is it's a little bit more wiggle room.
They are a little bit.
Really good wiggle room in there. And they have it set up so it's not just lawful evil, lawful neutral, lawful chaos. And this is what these represent. It's more like, here's this, you kind of do this, but like they have one, it's like evil one, it's more like kind of like lawful evil, where it's like, oh, you have like a moral code, but you know, you will kill someone indiscriminately because you're fucking evil. But you still have a code that you follow, you still have morals, and you still show loyalty to people.
Just nobody knows what it is.
Yeah. You can still show loyalty to someone and not stab them in the back and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, like, yeah, if I wanted to snap someone's head, I can. You know, they have that kind of stuff. Or they have stuff that's more, it's not like evil, but it's more closer to like mischievous, like a Loki. Because Loki is a bad guy. Most of the time, it's just doing things there to himself.
It's just yeah.
So it's just, I never seen an asshole once. It's still asshole. So,
How are you going to pump to me?
so it's like that. But going back to Palladium, now that we've gotten off the, I think we're good with the alignment argument there.
I understand.
I understand.
No, I get it.
That is a grade. It is a grade. Especially when you're running something like true neutral. Why even bother playing? Like, oh, your character's true neutral, you're not going to help it. You just exist. So you're not for anybody, it's not against anybody. That might as well be a fucking NPC. I don't know. I find that really hard to play. Definitely. That's why you always hear people say, oh, no one can run a true neutral character because you're going to want to.
Everybody.
You'd want to really lean in this.
Or just fade balance.
Yeah. Oh, that too. So it's like, oh,
We're like neutral good.
Yeah.
That way they're kind of like neither here.
more sense. Well, the true neutral, like, that shouldn't even be a whole line.
Neutral, there's
A player character should not be able to play. In my opinion. Because then, like I said, you're just kind of alright. Yeah. Like, how do you? I guess the only way to play that character would be like, you'd be like a sociopath, or you believe in like true balance or something. There has to be an equal balance of life and death. Something crazy like that.
Or he's kind of like Zen monk who just like doesn't take 40 balance.
Yeah.
I can take science. It's just sitting meditating.
So I'm basically an advisor, and I teach people the way of foolishness. I don't know shit. Batman is not bad. You know, I like how busted some classes can be. I like the wide assortment of skills and abilities with access to it. You can have a character of these classes. Well, you can pick from a lot of stuff. I love all the variants out there.
That's also there's some really kick-ass classes. The Pathfinder albums, like the third edition, not the new edition.
Right.
But the third edition, there's so much you can do with that. First thing I ever played was Investigator. That is a kick-ass character. There's so much damage you can pack on. You just stab
Right.
one thing on top of another on top of another. Next thing you know, you're like like 60s.
That's all.
Close to it.
I like shipping class. Because essentially how it works is when you get high enough, 4 or 5, you don't need as long as you continue to put some points in.
It's like a little mean skit.
Yeah. And you essentially got like these 5 minutes to play dangerous stuff. So it just increases more of your decks. Yeah.
Yeah, because like with the monk, it's like the way they explain it with monk is that essentially your monk class gets accrued because the monk class is this heightened sense of just whatever's going on in the environment. So they can just basically
He's one with everything.
they can basically block and dodge anything. And of course, as we know, that's how AC works. It's not necessarily really your armor class, it's your ability to not hit.
And the only time it does feel is like if an enemy saying it was that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna go straight to him. Plus,
So it's like,
just send it baby.
it's all your natural ones. And those bonuses you're getting, those see, what's your natural armor class? Your base bonus.
10.
Well, since I don't use paint, it should put
Loves.
10. Okay.
One time I was just fun. New York City. Lost into a hot dog vendor. He stands there and the hot dog vendor says, "What can I get you?" He says, "Make me one of their."
I guess.
I also know the story of the that went to New York City. And he once gave a riddle to a young man full of beautiful. And he asked him, why do hot dogs come in packs of 10 or buns from a packs of 12? Nothing?
Bro.
It's to make you buy more. It's to make you buy more hot dogs.
Because you can always get man hot dogs. Fix them. Nothing deep. Nothing super crazy there. Just a really simple.
Let me guys pull up the phone.
How did you know extra?
Because it's your 2 favorite actors.
Love that movie. First movie I saw where people can bend bullets.
Oh, yeah, right.
Where did they see that before? Oh Jesus! But we're moving on. How do you guys feel about the game?
I think
I'm tired of doing that.
I'm trying to flip it back and forth and back and forth. And their shit is just
Hate making characters.
making a character for the latest game in the house. She has that one. It's not
Jesus.
so
My
character creation.
issue
Campaigns too. I'm sometimes making characters.
my issue with Palladium comes from my DM's perspective with me trying to bring this game and the unpopularity of Palladium because, like you guys said, it's very complicated to make a character. Because of that, it's complicated to make NPCs and characters. Because there's really not a lot of reference material in Palladium, whether it be fantasy or heroes, riffs. There's just not a lot of stuff out there. Not a very popular system. Oh, there's stuff. There's stuff out there. But like I was telling Asher the other day when we spoke about this, in this case, his reference material is from King's Reign. I mean, you see some characters. He has some shit.
He's not really a lot.
And that our gaming folder that we keep, that me and him keep a track of, every time we get stuff to update, we put it in there. I found a book, Fan Compiled book, collection of free skill. And yeah, it's so gigantic. I was like, I showed it to him. I was like, bro, this is everything. From every Palladium fucking expansion from Palladium Fantasy all the way to Rifts. The list of skills, what they do, percentages, all the shit. Gigantic fucking PDF.
Yes, it's
That's all it's.
That's
Fan art.
there's a compilation like from every different Palladium game, like all just
yeah.
And it's all stuff that's recent. All updated. And I got it for us because I was like, okay, this will save us time if we ever have to switch back and forth between fantasy to heroes or fucking riffs in the future. We can just be like, you know what? Hold from this.
just positive about Palladium. Palladium has been the first time I enjoyed playing Magician.
Oh, it's so much fun.
It's been freaking fun season.
So much fun.
And I just never played one. Wasn't like too much of a mess to deal with, but I actually found myself really enjoying getting it back. It's so much easier if you don't have to roll and see if you hit or not. You just assume you're practicing this stuff for 2 decades. You know your spells. You cast, they get a save, but
And that's how that works. I love that in Palladium because the way it's explained for anything you've learned, it's a game knowledge. Someone taught you how to do this. You know how to do this. Because that's how any new skills are supposed to be learned. It's like you've gotten some kind of training. So I enjoyed that as well about it. I never played any magic users and Palladium when I played, but I did like the idea of that where it's like all they can do is have some kind of save or some way to prevent it. That's it. And that generally doesn't, it goes against kind of established rules of just magic and fantasy in general. But it depends on what you're drawing from. There's some things that are like, oh, well, you need spell components. Oh, you need some kind of concentration. You're bursting this concentration when they're using a spell. There's all kinds of different rules of how magic is supposed to work.
I've never had a GM who actually enforces
Spell components? Jesus. So
enough magic that if you had to have spell components, oh my god.
that would suck. But to be fair, if yeah, kind of, but yours is more like White Wolf, where you have to have a focus or a phylactery to channel magic. Traditional D&D spells and even Pathfinder, if you follow by traditional rules, you gotta have actual components for the spell. They get burnt when you use the spell. Like, oh, cast a spell, I need this bone, I need this fucking crushed squirrel penis, I need the blood of this virgin. Oh, and I need about 2 minutes to cast a spell. Please move these enemies.
5-minute ritual.
Why cast this spell? Oh, and I need to burn this fucking scroll that I'm writing the fucking incantation on. Hold on. Oh, still fast. Sometimes it's easiest something you just like hold and then it just like, oh, I hold this stone, it lets me cast a spell, the stone is gone. I know our guys don't like the spell components thing because you're just spending too much money. And then as a magic user, you become less effective when that happens. You essentially become like a traditional alchemist, where it's I can use these items that do a lot of stuff because I'm an alchemist, but I have to constantly keep my supply up. Most people we've played with don't like doing that with magic users because it's like, bro, that's the only thing you do attack. That's the need. You're not going up and fighting something. You're not doing that. Alchemists, they're going to do that every once in a while. They might carry a rapier or like a crossbow or a gun.
They may just grow very large claws and teeth.
That shit too. They might transform into something and fight back. But you're still using like a potion or something like that.
You still have to be.
Yeah. What I'm saying is like, well, alchemists essentially their preferred form of fighting is using and burning items to
More or less.
Yeah.
They kind of have a back door around.
What I'm saying is though, if that were to run out, the way the characters are built, they can still defend themselves.
Well, I know this amplifiers. An alchemist can get an alchemist pouch.
Yeah.
It's pretty much, it just says that it's presumed that you have with the more basic components
Yes.
in a bag already. So you can use anything on what's something really crazy as far as like say diamonds.
Yeah, stuff like that. But like basic stuff like bombs, explosives, small explosives, things like that, you should be covered. And yeah, there are items like that, magical items that are very, very cheap, common magical items you need to hold. But that's a very Pathfinder thing. That's not so much a D&D thing. More in D&D, those kind of magical items, even though they're not like high ranking things, they're still gonna spend a bit of coin if you get them home. It's gonna take some effort. And if your game wants to be a real dick, you might have to actually get the components to craft this thing and then find somebody who can craft it for you. So there's that. If someone ran the game by the book, whether it be Pathfinder, D&D, any system, there'd probably be a lot of upset people.
Yeah, it should be a lot less.
Because there's a lot of rules. We were outside, moving on to Palladium. I don't like the character creation. I do agree with you guys there. It takes too long. Way too long. Even when you're good at it. So I'd say I'm pretty fucking good at it.
And if they would reorganize the way the books come out a little bit,
Yeah.
because part of the process you gotta go back and forth between all these different charts.
Well, I think the thing is, I think the problem is that unlike it's a little poppy. So is it just like that? Probably pop filters. You're not hearing me buzzing, are you? So I might just chill some of the volume here. Give me a second. There we go. Let's go with that for I think the problem is that unlike normal character creation, say Pathfinder, even White Wolf, D&D, when you make a character in Pathfinder, you have the base stuff that you make for your character, and then once you pick your class, just pops. Okay. Your character has its own stuff that it has to function. Once you pick class.
Once you pick your class, you just plug in
Right, you take your stuff from your base, your base stats and saves and stuff, get added to the class, and then now the class itself has a whole ton of stuff you have to follow.
Yeah, you got like 3 different sets of skills that you gotta do with them. You gotta get this percentage. I gotta add this percentage into that, which you can find in this part of the book. We go here, now I'm gonna go back here and pick out some more skills that are optional, and I get a certain percent of that.
Yep.
What percentage of that?
It's a lot of stuff.
We're talking about
Yeah, believe.
We're talking
Creation related.
yeah, okay.
There's
it's like Pathfinder
Now-
and Pathfinder. I mean, especially if you're going off of like an internet website that has everything, all this stuff like right there. You just go to the class, and it just everything on the chart. So if you're making a level 3, if your level 3 has this BAB with all those saves, and you're on those freaking skills.
Right.
Unlike the Palladium, yeah, everything you have to find and choose.
Yeah,
You're
and then,
thoughtful about what you're choosing.
and that's the thing. It's like you, because of the way the skill system works, like you were saying, it's like okay, I pick this skill. All right. Well, what are the base? You take the base skills the class gets, right? And then you have to add any pluses from any new classes, any stuff you pick. And then whatever bonuses you get for whatever stats or whatever.
We got from attributes.
Yeah, so
What did you get from that?
it's a lot. It's guarantee you're spending 30 minutes on a character. Just a minute. Minimum.
It takes you longer than, like I said, it's I'm flipping back.
I can do
Same here. It's
To get just everything you need right before the snow starts.
I can
Just put it right there.
I can set my character in 30 minutes. Just basic stuff.
You've been playing this one.
Yeah, I've only been playing for a few years. I started
I've only been playing for a year.
42.
Right. So, but that's really because I've kind of done a lot of reading on characters' skills and all that stuff, and I have a quick idea of like, hey, this does this, you know. But even then, that's only if I'm doing someone who doesn't have magic. I haven't done a magic character. I haven't done a psionic character, so that probably will take me longer. So, but if you just feel like, hey, we just need to make a character, have these few cybernetics here. Oh yeah, give it here. I'm knocking out real quick. What kind of character do you want to play? Range, melee, or not sure. Probably knock something out real quick, but still, 30 minutes, you know? I can make a character in fucking 10 minutes in Pathfinder or D&D. Just throwing some shit at it, that's easy.
Still takes me longer than that, but the base parts, yeah, 5 minutes.
Yeah.
My problem is I just spend so much time going over the list of feats and stuff. What's the best thing to use? Just verify. I'm going to try this now. How about this? Let me make a list of everything I'm going to try.
Right. And that's where
I'm just Nick.
that's where it gets you get into the time sinking territory, and then it's like, oh, I just want to play. So I don't know. That's the thing. Sometimes it's like, man, you know what if we just play a game where you just run pre-mates? You know.
Yeah. Nope.
It's like I'll just pick.
I really not.
Sometimes I want to do it, man. Now I think we should move on to White Wolf, though.
Okay.
And White Wolf and characters being easy to make. just like character creation of White Wolf is pretty stupid something. Especially if you know the system. It's like, yeah.
Maybe just a little more complicated. But one because you have typically like different types of
Easy stuff.
For me, because well, Anthony's
Major.
I knew nothing about Mage. I did White Wolf, and he only did like 2 sessions.
Y'all were doing Vampire too. So.
Vampire World for that, and
I
that one was a bit difficult as far as choosing what werewolf clan you want to be a part of, and even at that, it was only confusing just because we wouldn't explain properly how the clans work.
The clans are mostly flavor.
Yeah.
And you know what's
bound
to
like if you change
how you when you change that kind of stuff. You know, because I always bring up the fact that the red fangs, they're very feral. They never go into their fucking human form. Like very rarely, they hate it. You know, they look down on any of the planets that do it. And because they're the most feral of all the planets, they're fucking giants. And they're in any of their fucking commonest forms or their full pure wolf forms, they're huge.
Yeah. So the mage one is the one I have difficulty is figuring out how the spirits work as well as for
red tape and affect your willpower and how does all this interact. That's a little more complicated with it. I mean, the first thing the first skills,
But for the most part,
abilities and attributes, that part is just simple. I mean, we got so many points to pick it worth on.
but for the most part, the system is easy to make a character. It's like character creation is.
Last night I converted a character from Pathfinder. Like I thought it was going to be complicated. It took me like 5 minutes. Once I got some guidelines from Astro, I just sat down, went
Done.
Okay, I'm done. Time for
you. This corner, like, wow, I'm so immersion.
Because I mean, the thing I like about White Wolf, and this is something I've talked to you about, Astro. You know, you don't have to worry about damage for weapons.
Yeah.
Or armor rating for your armor, or hey, does this race give me natural abilities or resistance? You don't have to worry about any of that shit. The game is mostly storytelling. When you do get into combat, you're basically it's just successes, advantages, successes, failures, and botches. That's it. You have a set pool of how much damage you can take. Everybody has to use that pool. That's it. You can kind of increase it. I don't know the particulars of that, but it generally is the same for enemies and characters, player characters. So basically, all your attributes and everything like that, and your skills just apply for flavor. Like, all right, I'm really strong. Well, in the game, if you needed to move something or lift up something, you can. How do you need to lift up this car? What's your strength? My strength is a 6. Oh, you have godlike strength. You're like a demigod. Yes, you can lift that car.
I like what you're like.
Which I look more into the mechanics of that. Like if your strength is at level 3, it allows you so many pounds. I think it's like 125 pounds. I'm just don't. If something is under that weight, then you can essentially lift it without it.
Yeah.
If it's above your weight limit, like by 1, then yeah, you still have to roll for that strength. And if you make the success, then you can lift it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I learned that last night when I was doing Unmoved Mocking. I was like, wow, okay.
Yeah, I like how.
So there's still math, but it's not heavy.
Right. And it's like, it's stuff that's common sense to life.
Yeah.
Like, normally, a person can't lift a fucking vehicle. But because of how White Wolf works. And this is a little bit of fantasy. Like I said, 5 is like the max of strength. At that, you're like at the peak of human ability. You're basically Captain America. That motherfucker can lift a lot.
800 pounds.
Yeah, you can lift
800 pounds, clean price.
no motherfucker ain't doing that shit.
Nope. I don't know if anybody has actually lifted that.
Right. But
Definitely impressive.
at the 6, and this is actually, you have to take a merit to do this. It actually says you essentially have demigod like powers when you have that stat. You have this merit, so you can take an extra stat from it. So at that point, yeah, you're better than a normal person. I can run way faster than a normal person. I could probably punch a hole through a wall, not feel it.
Yeah. Somebody recently set the new deadlift record at 1,104 pounds.
Jesus.
Not imagine being able to lift that much.
Half the time. Exactly. Well, not
It's actually over with the test over.
But
Imagine the ball.
fuck half time.
Imagine the bar that weight has to sit on.
Oh, it's that bad.
Bro, I had to sit on 2 cars. I had to sit on like 2
You know what I'm saying?
Even distribution of that weight on that bar.
Yeah.
Taking care of breakfast. Take care. Oh, you're taking care of.
Taking care of breakfast.
Oh, I wanted to jump in on that. Taking care of breakfast. Yeah, taking care of breakfast. I can't think of any other words.
Every way.
But so far, I'm liking White Wolf. I'm liking World of Darkness and Huge Games. And if we would have done more of that with the original Brew Game, I would have never started my whole story on Pathfinder. Because I already realized, like, doing Pathfinder in my homebrew lore, I had to destroy a lot of mechanics, a lot of tricks already set with the game. It's kind of limit you guys on what you are able to do with certain classes and characters. In White Wolf or World of Darkness, when I homed that, so far it's taken me like 3 days time. 3 days time to get mechanics, freaking she's down. Yeah.
Because yesterday and then today.
Yeah.
Yes.
Dude, like,
It's
like 5 o'clock, I'm like on my laptop.
we stop doing all the bullshit we're doing, and then he gets to work.
I'm just putting in work, and then I go to bed at like 2 o'clock in the morning. We wake up at 8. I'm like, okay, man, let's hang out. Let's go to this store. Let's chill. Freaking 5 o'clock. Yeah.
Hard working man here, guys.
Yeah. and even when I explained to you, or even on the group chat, is I did this because it's a more open to interpretation in as far as customization to you guys' characters.
Right. 'Cause
Everything else, as far as situation-based stuff in the actual game that we play, is just interpretation.
Because you don't have to worry about character classes. You don't have to worry about. You really don't have to worry about skills. It's just like, if your character can do something. What are your skills that you do? And the skills are just training and stuff.
Can you do it without roll? Oh, you can't? Okay, do.
Hey, I need to pick
Oh,
this.
you need to roll for
I need to pick this lock. All right. Well, lock picking isn't a thing. Then so it's like, what's your agility? That's,
Yeah.
and probably a perception check. That's simple.
Chili.
You know, where it's like you're playing like a normal tabletop game, and anything else, most likely, it's like, okay, you want a lockpick? All right, not only do you have to have the agility, but I'm gonna need a perception check, and I'm also gonna need a lockpick check. Do you have a skill? I have no skill points in lockpicking.
Yeah.
So it's a pure agility roll. All right, give me a die roll. You know.
See, and even at that, like, combat's even simplified now, too.
Yeah.
So I don't have to sit there and keep track of, like, this. Like, if I have enemies or 100 HPs.
Yeah, all that shit. No,
All this math leadership.
So it's less stressful on you.
Yeah, let's just on you guys.
we're fighting 5 guys. They can take 5 wounds before they're incapacitated. That's it.
Are they wearing armor? Okay, so this
They're
is
not
take a little bit longer to kill them.
They're not wearing armor, and you guys all have guns. This isn't gonna take very long.
My guy, this is a 3-minute battle. In real world.
Let's see. I'm gonna attack this guy with my machine gun. Okay, roll your die pool. What's your firearms? I got a firearms. All right. Give me a firearms roll, perception roll. Oh damn! I got 10 successes. Haha! You came in like 20 times. Motherfuckers are getting. Say hello to my little friend. It's a wrap. They all take 5 wounds. They're dead. 5 total. Yeah, it's
And not only that, like, I reworked a little bit, which I told you about earlier, but I reworked a little bit of the combat skills where, like, you got 2 things, like dodge and deflect, which every point you have in that you can use in actual class turn. And that means that if I give you guys all these routes to where you can't get damaged, then that means essentially you guys will be stronger to fight heavier battles and shit, which progresses the story. You know? You guys essentially will become like classes. Everybody's
I will be playing a lot more performances again.
okay. Well, let's see. We got some. You guys got any questions for us as far as tabletop? Please ask. We'd like some more stuff to talk about.
I mean, as far as that goes, about what art and stuff, there is an excellent game I played that when you looked at it, at least when I looked at it later on in life, it looked like Legend or Riffs as far as percentages go. The way this guy was playing it was more or less like Riffs.
My opinion. Well, yeah, we should have to see.
Indeed. So that's all percentage, right?
Yeah, it's D10. I mean, you still use D20s for certain things, but it's mostly D10s.
Yeah, this guy did use the 22. Englishman and percentage.
Yeah, there's still D20s in Palladium, but it's mostly D10s.
Yeah, there's a system that when we played before. We haven't really mentioned Call of Cthulhu.
Oh, yes.
I haven't played it, so you guys talk about that. I have not played Call of Duty.
Never played it?
Not yet.
It's kind of Palladium. I don't mind it so much. It's just the whole. I don't know. Maybe it's not where it's very investigative. You know, PI.
It is more narrative than combat. So.
Which I'm not. It's just the style. It's like really not PI shit. And I'm playing like a fucking monster.
Well, that is what it's called. Call of Cthulhu characters investigators. Yeah, it isn't going to be to be games.
We have been.
Yes.
It's a tactile. That's a word now, fucker.
They just use their senses to work out.
But you know, I play this guy who just don't really give a fuck. So whenever he asks me shit in the game, it's just like, I don't really care. Like, look, you know what I used to do before and all this.
You don't even shoot something together much.
Well, apparently, you would expect a human to like be efficiently good as if you attention. Think about it.
Not necessarily.
True.
You might
So my last name's no man. Come on.
And then be a goofball.
isn't Mike Tornado.
Yeah, actually, my actually, I thought I went straight up. Yes.
That's a that's a masterclass for sure, man. So how did you feel guys feel about calling for this?
I think the guy likes the first side comment we actually got when she was on the session.
Yeah.
It was a long time.
You guys
Kept expecting it.
you guys expect something like that?
Yeah. But not really. It's more like just PI shit. I'm like, I'm
Investigated
and my character, I don't give a fuck about
a little bit of puzzles. It's very narrative, very
Narrative driven. That's not bad.
which I kind of know. I was just like,
it.
but then again, I've been talking to Cthulhu against the point of battle. That's usually not a good thing. That's when people usually sort of die and having any characters.
Right. That's what I've heard.
You already know. Just like the story becomes like combat.
They want a little conflict. I mean, that's half game.
Kind of like what we were doing in Anthony's game. Like we've had like 3 fights,
Yeah, Dopest. Good.
and they do it very long.
They were interesting ways that
I'm just saying, but I like what we were doing.
They're there.
Shaking guys down, making phone calls, getting information, negotiating with people. There was
God, I can't wait till the next session.
I'm just saying, I wouldn't find it personally if I did get to play Call of Duty. If it was like, oh, you're basically a private eye. I wouldn't mind having to do, all the. All right, I need to shake down this guy at this bar. Information.
Private eye? Really? I mean, you got Heinz playing this doctor.
No, I'm just saying.
I was hated.
I'm talking about the.
I'm a monster. John is a fucking, world title champion for freaking boxer.
Oh?
And somehow they just know each other and all wound up getting invited to school from this.
Angel's playing as ours.
So what you're telling me is you're playing Clue.
Yes.
That's very accurate.
Clue for Tabletop. That's awesome. I like it. That's what it's about.
Sticks. And no one murdered anyone.
It's one of my favorite movies.
Where's the dude?
I don't want to know that information. Who wants to find Cthulhu?
Yeah, I
Apparently we do.
Jesus.
Apparently Colonel Musk was.
Colonel Musk, you bitch. Dude.
I mean, that's pretty Call of Duty right there.
Damn, I wish I had fucking Kenny and Hans here. So they could kind of do this bullshit. Because, Kenny has an interesting fucking mind for arcane and tabletop internet. Which one's the Hans is neighbor.
Oh, okay.
Kenny's good people.
See, he just thinks something just as neighbor.
I know his name's okay. I think her name.
I think he was in one of our subfunder sessions.
I think he might have said it.
Just to sit in one.
Yeah, he said it.
Like the furball with all the arms.
No, you're talking about Richard.
That's Richard.
Yeah. He was playing one of those
Richard plays the most wacky shit. That's Richard will find the way to play the most off the wall, crazy character. That's fun. That's great. Like it reminds me how John likes to play characters.
Oh, you mean like already now?
John likes, well,
Perverted.
John likes those really fucking like eccentric ones too.
Oh yes.
Which is because it gives you something to play with.
It breaks up the freaking series.
Yeah, because as we know, as Astro has talked about, I'm getting a little serious here. That's why I'm getting close to the mic. We've talked about dark.
Put on his jazz voice.
Yeah, I'm getting my hey, it's Jack Off Hour voice. I'm getting that voice. No. Virgil?
Like you know,
Virgil?
call fucking Pokemon. Right?
My Virgil voice. Foolishness, Dante. Foolishness. That voice? No. As we talked about dark, brooding characters in games and how boring they can be. Oh, I'm edgy and I sit in a corner with a hood on and I make. I didn't say you were doing that. I'm talking about people doing that in games and how they don't really contribute to any party choices or anything. It's just kind of like, okay, I'll just go along with you guys. But you're conforming to this fucking play style. Jesus. You know who you are, people out there.
Page Lords.
I remember we were playing this game from wasn't that run by Junkie, where it essentially is you can play fucking homebrew.
Oh yeah, that was remember I was playing a Chrono Mansion. My guy could like leave through time and see the future.
You know which character, speaking of wacky Zane characters, and I think we should move on to that. People playing final characters. I like when you did the I forgot what the character was, but you had the ability to the fat totem? I believe that's what it was.
Totem, that was
Which one was that?
You could just call on gods of different religions to do.
he was that was
It was a fair game?
no, that was 3.5. That was one of Wyman's 3.5s.
Oh yeah, he did run this 3.5.
Was that?
Fact,
Yeah, he passed 3.5 where I was playing freaking Stan for
Spoiler.
Johnny was in it.
3.5.
Hyman was in it.
Fact is official D&D publisher. It's like from a rare book.
Yeah.
But it's D&D published material. I found this character that can do just pretty much
That was
anything.
wild, dude.
And even if they had feet, okay, to do anything, you had to use inspiration points.
Yeah.
And there was a feat that lets you get more and more inspiration points. First time you got 1 point. Second time, you got 2 points. Third time, and I'm going to play 7 or 8 inspiration points per encounter. Not random, but per encounter.
So he was doing all kinds of wild shit.
I got 2 later playing with Half Jack, Sparrow.
Yeah. So hold on, let me find a guy to pray to for this moment. I think this guy, this one right here, and he pulls out a charm from a bunch of necklaces he wears, and he's just like, I pray to this guy, blah blah blah. And he gets some kind of blessing for the party. What the fuck?
And he had so many crazy stories about all those titles that he rattled off.
Yeah,
Like every one of those, I was getting guys to one of those crazy stories.
that one was fun. I love the glitch race in fucking Thera.
I remember when the janitor turned into a fucking 21.
Just like,
It's because of that classic moment.
it's fire. Yes, look at him. My dish for the day turned you into a fucking epic level monk.
He was a fucking NPC too. That was a janitor. And he, for some reason, he just knew. He did.
I just love the wild shit that class can do. Freaking Vitamin playing the fucking Yosoki pilot in our Starfighter game and how fucking
No, I like
crazy that character is. That one was a good one. Like we just
Double J.
oh Jesus, Double J.
Great fucking character, man.
It's his bard.
Yeah, it's hard.
It's a stone, which is a cross between a barbarian and a bard.
Oh,
Barbarian.
Which one was a fun character? I was eventually going to give him a disarm that is essentially a weapon. Now it's going to flood the battle.
Jesus, that was a fun character. We talked about Richard's character in the Starfinder, and the guy was like just jittery and fucking all over the place, and that guy was fun.
Really fucking guy by himself. He had like talking down and afraid.
Oh my goodness. I do like I did like Angel's character. Which one? Starfighter. The lady boy.
See, that's something. If you're gonna play a different gender, your way of speaking to another male character should be a little bit differently than how you would speak to that female character.
Well, our character was a show-in, so that kind of helped her not having to be social. She didn't like being around people.
True. But in what context even a shut-in is gonna tell a fucking dude who looks like a sip and refer to him as honey? In what context?
Very effeminate men. Have you met them? They're straight, and they act like that. I've met a few of my
to meet them. They usually are just gays.
You probably met a few yourself. Oh, he comes back gay. Sure fucking acts like.
Yeah.
Only feeling guys I've met, they are legitimately gay. I've never met one that likes me.
I'm telling you, man, I've met some guys that are like, you're like, there's no fucking way.
That's why I like in Angel's character, the lady boyish freaking character, where she's like, I'm a man. Like, are you sure? Because you act like a woman.
Sure you're not a girl. I knew a guy in high school who he talked like he was gay. He dressed really nice. He always hung out with the girls, and he loved them. He wasn't gay.
I knew a few guys like that myself in high school. So, man, that's the thing, man. And then she had that sweet fucking dog
Oh, yeah.
thing.
She had that, like, sonic weapon series that, like, just shot people into the freaking side of buildings and shit.
So that was pretty cool. I like the more eclectic characters. You're doing a lot of wild ass shit with the character.
Yeah, I'll admit, my character would pretty much start off very dirty, but then eventually just like, I should have just literally just took all society.
Also, Dunphy's character in the 3.5 game, the Elf Noble. Remember, he was. I don't know if you were there. You were there for these games. Yes. Super dickish.
Oh yeah.
Kid.
Really,
It's amazing.
I just drunken.
I mean, he laid into the
Life is done.
he laid into the whole "I'm better than you." I'm going to tell you I'm better than you. And then we get in combat. I'm going to prove I'm better than you by killing with fighting with my superior knowledge of magic. I'm going to know my superior with my magic use while we're fighting. Oh, I guess I should help you with it. Help you magic spell.
What's sense? Because Duffy already has his time back zero.
He already has. I mean, it's like he's playing himself.
So mid.
Oh, it was so good. I was like, this is the best character in the game. I'm supposed to do everything with this character. What's this guy doing? Well, I'm gonna go follow him. And I'm just gonna talk shit to everybody. We have some badass character in the party, and he's just kind of like, beggar.
Let's see what it's like. Duffy first started. We're doing the thing. I like how when two characters, right, especially when you got a player and another player, have met each other and they something together, they just feed each other actual game.
Yeah.
Let alone after the game is done, you guys should be kind of
You guys just flick with the whole
Right.
Give me the language.
I know, canvas. Because you didn't keep realizing around happens. Like I had my character was just brooding and Dingle was
You were telling me now.
just fucking eccentric.
I remember you talking about. I was like, oh, I miss you guys, man. You're like, I've been palling around with Dunphy, and I was like, oh, that's awesome.
We literally had a legless fucking giving your characters. Every battle. It's just like teaching different. Like, hey man, not three.
I think I'll throw in my barbarian cleric from our 3.5 game. I threw him in the party.
I remember that.
He was very joyous and colorful. He was drunk.
This is playing the same right after this fucking.
I think so.
It's not the same one where we're fighting Bunny?
Did we find a bunny?
Or was that Xbox 4 or 5?
That was Hancock.
I saw some responses. And now it's a 5.0 game.
When the first little rat, little monster.
Maze, right? You guys,
Where everything's an illusion.
oh, yeah.
And that's scared of dick me.
That was
Dick.
I'm scared to take care of the end. Actually, when you drop down, you can go ahead and just be my character. Let's just stop and be there because we were doing be my friend character.
Yeah.
So you were a piece of my character. My character was getting eaten. All the other characters roasted him and ate him. So then when I came back, he's like, okay, I'm going to bring your character back. He's like, what are you wearing when you come back? What are you wearing when you come back? He's like, what about you? What was I wearing when I died? I was like, I won't wear anything. You were roasted. I was like, I'm not wearing anything. My character refused to put clothes on that bed. And so weapons stand away, and I had a paper rock. The rock doubles a pillow for me, and then he would use it to beat people. I was just trolling about it.
I wasn't there. I was trying at the beginning. The first section I was a pretty winning player just because I've never played D&D at all. So I made the Dragonborn, which when I was told about the dragon, well, what I imagined as the Dragonborn, someone of a human figure with dragons and some dragon features, and that's it. It's like, no, you're literally playing a dragon, but humanoid. It's like, so I imagined this. How it goes. Yeah.
I mean, it could be a thing. You could be like what you were saying. Some people are just dragon blooded, where they're related to dragons and they don't have any draconic features at all.
So that's how,
They have draconic powers like flaming dragons and things like that.
that's how I was playing Dragonborn. Like, that's it. You're just a giant Argonian dragon type deal.
I love that you chose an Australian accent.
Oh, yeah. It's too Australian. It's fucking it's bloody warlock that's a fucking dragon.
Talks like this might.
I wanted to use my accent, man. It's Dragonborn. Brooding emo cringy character.
And I get to practice my British accents because I use them. I use it a lot.
I tried that. But okay, so when we're in the first section, it was this point where we're like in the first part of the dungeon, and we're building our individual selves. We're literally trying to figure out this simple puzzle that no one could fucking perceive as well. We're
Yeah, I'm saying that.
yeah, the dice check is so fucking high for us to see something so fucking simple. For real.
Yeah.
They let us go through a whole hour of that.
We would have got there quicker if people would listen. I tried to tell everybody, go the way that looks the scariest. Because that's where they don't want you to go. So that's where you need to. Yeah. Everybody want to go the other way.
And then even at that, like every battle we're getting into, everything was an illusion. So, in my cognitive head, I'm thinking like, well, if everything's an illusion, then how are we getting And then eventually I just got swirly with it. Say, damn it. True. But without fucking
Yeah.
yeah, but we also did. I mean, we did hope this place. We're doing like mind flares and Dojo, but at the same time,
Yeah, it's characters fighting.
yeah.
I mean, you can.
That I was like,
Like he was.
the wolf is
Like if you're doing mind flares and something like what we contributed, you can know it's fake, but they are so powerful. You're gonna feel it anyway, even though you're not actually physically getting hurt.
Yeah.
So
Again, I didn't know too much. But essentially, what happened was freaking this wormhole opened up and the fucking Minotaur came out. I was like, guys, don't worry, it's just an illusion. Of course, it's strange.
it's like,
Guys, don't worry, it's just an illusion.
it's just losing my.
Real Minotaur. And then Mike was like, oh, you know what? It's real Minotaur. I was like, he's like, no, my ass is. Yeah, no, go dance. No, that's it. If it was that I was a dick in the actual game, in real life, and
We're sorry,
Those
Echo.
IV games really weren't that bad. Except for some bad decisions.
These stories are trying to just through us.
Oh, yeah, something.
Oh my god, have I ever witnessed some fucking
Fuckery.
shit? Dude, people getting upset
Oh, yeah.
over a fucking pretend ass.
You gotta admit, we were getting really buttered.
We don't need to talk about that because then people are going to say that we hate wins.
See,
We were all just pissed off.
I mean, no, not really, because it's more being pissed off, more being bad.
What?
To a degree. But it was literally just for shits and giggles. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Should we
So, for being a shit.
Can we tell this?
I mean, I don't want to.
go ahead. Feel free.
I mean, what was it? Okay, so we ran into a freaking. And mind you, our game group is mainly made of men. And there was 2 of us.
We had 2 female players.
And our GM at the time made us go into a game in some freaking village.
I should have made because I said my character is not going to go in.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Y'all can go in. My character is staying right here. He goes, okay, so you're all in there. I'm like,
Oh yeah, he did.
that's okay. You just like ignored me and just railroaded me.
Pretty much, yeah. Gross. Yeah, that was good. Person. Of course, him is only 4 males. The 2 females over there looked like fun.
Yeah, the whole thing was gross.
Yeah.
It was, the guys were getting like treated like crap. The chicks will get to go like, fucking chicks. Pretty much just blonde.
Pretty much queens at that time.
They get some presents. Guys get
We were given rings.
we
We were the source of this story. We were actually just find each other too.
to see who got to make the best females.
Yeah.
Because that's what they were just like in split bears.
Yeah. I remember my
Oh. Tea time. Tea
Spinners?
time. Tea time. You guys were playing an episode of Futurama? What the fuck?
pretty much yes. Not as funny though. I mean, it was funny to us. It's funny as some guys.
I'm listening.
Not so funny towards some female characters. That's the conclusion.
I'm like, that's not Snoopster? What the fuck?
I remember. I remember that we pretty much won. Something were men.
Backtracking just a sleep. So we were forced to sleep with women
Yeah.
just to get them pregnant. Then we rolled to see how many children we had, how many male, how many female. And all the male children were put on a boat, sent down the river, and sold to sleep.
Yeah.
Okay.
It
And then
was a very conflicted story. I was like, oh my god.
after all this, with the women being elevated and treated like goddesses, and the men treated like just nothing but
Like trash.
penis flames. So after this, he decides to cap this whole thing off. He's going to have the Amazonian Queen to create a battle where all of us have to fight each other, like for their amusement. And the winner gets a whole bunch of money. And the guys got together off the sun and were like, let's just team up with this.
Pretty much, yeah.
We've been getting treated like crap. They've been getting pretty good. Let's just team up against the females. We'll split the money with you. And I was the last one in because I was like, no, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do this. I was just thinking about it, like how I got railroaded into this. And children being. Let's do it. Let's do it. And we won. Just barely, but we won. We took the money, and when the females figured out that we had teamed up against them, they were so mad at their stuff.
And I'm like, within the commission game though, like, when did that fucking people out?
Yeah.
And the thing about it is, because I pretty much go the same route if you were reverse it too, yeah.
But it was the most divisive game I have been a part of.
Yeah, I was very Because you know,
I was really happy with the whole thing. It was, to me, just really divisive.
no, because that's the thing too. Like,
That was a mistake on this one. I told him afterwards, man, look, you should really steer away from things like sexual politics.
yeah, because I hate that shit too. Because
You're
I was like, no, shit. I
gonna
don't
piss off the group with that. But you know, some GMs like that kind of shit.
Yeah,
true. We just had a GM that wasn't really thinking things through. Didn't plan.
It's but
Granted, shit's
of course it doesn't. It's the nature of GMing. It's gonna happen.
So our comments on it would be like serves.
No, people are just watching.
All
Well, Kiala wasn't here earlier.
She was here.
She commented on the mics
Oh.
and the talking.
Oh.
I'm sorry. I appreciate the comment. Always gotta adjust the levels. That's why I was saying I gotta wait till we're actually live and talking to see how everything's gonna sound. I assume it sounds fine though. I haven't had any other complaints. Logic and fucking Toby said it sounded great, so I'll just go with that.
All right. As far as I was reading, I know I was on something. I can't remember.
We can always tell some fun stories.
We finished about blindness, or you finished about
I mean, I remember. RP. RP is one of those good things too.
I love RP.
I like RP.
I'm damn good at it.
There should still be some combat in there, but I love RP.
Like I said, that's in this game. 3 fights. We've had 3 sessions. 3 fucking fights.
RP was so amazing.
You know,
Especially my character. Well, I mean, not me specifically, but like, because y'all were pretty much set on like, your characters. Yeah, right. Yours is the ice guy.
Harder quotes.
Item is Doctor. What is it? What is his name? Because he's unbalanced.
He's part of a certain order, and he's a resident. He's not a doctor. I mean, technically he is. He has a PhD, but he's a resident. He's in training. And so he basically is always at the hospital. He's on call.
resident, practically.
Yeah, practically really there. So he's not a full-fledged doctor yet. But because he belongs to this order, he believes in proper balance and in things. So they're very they get affronted by a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this is an affront against what is natural. Like the zombies and vampires, undeads, basically. Like no, well, they don't have too much of a problem with it. It does, but not like vampires, because werewolves are only dead.
Waiting at that hunt for rogue mages.
Yeah. So
Well, the certain order of werewolves. But the whole start of the whole campaign, you guys are on your own jobs and stuff. And you got my character who's literally playing a military guy who went AWOL because he's a werewolf.
Yeah.
His buddy turned into, and then his buddy goes missing, ends up actually getting dead at the hospital. Martin's character, exactly.
mm-hmm.
And then that just stirs up all his crazy shit. I'm going to find his body. I get there, and there's actually 3 werewolves or some shit, right? Is that what it was? 3 werewolves?
No, it was only 2. No,
It's 2. There's 2 at the time, and then there was a vehicle.
there was 2 at the time, and there was one other guy who, there was 3, but the other guy showed up last. He was the big one that Alan had fighting that was trying to put down.
Yeah.
And just could not kill him.
Oh, right, that turned like first blood. So
Yeah, dude, we were fucking him up. We ended up killing him like he's the one that got
That's the biggest thing. And that was the thing too.
Oh,
it's like second hour area.
he shot half his top, then I turned his brains.
Yeah. Well, that's when we killed him.
Yeah.
First time,
But yeah, you guys pretty much freaking it was like this because not only am I very well, I'm also freaking super. And then I had to find a freaking shit, didn't I? Or I had to find a where you choose your background for your page.
well, fuck. Forgot what they're called.
Your order, more or less. You choose your order, and then mine, of course.
That's a color.
Marshall Prince.
They're pretty Buddhist.
I went up to follow, but just because it didn't really fit anything else quite fit. That was just stuff.
The technology one, I forgot what it was referred to. The reason I picked that, and the reason one is because, I see that. But the big main reason is because my character, because he was a warrior, I belong to class characters. So kind of go, along with that. What's the class? It's a werewolf though. And they're very technological.
Technological werewolves.
They execute the natural limits.
That's
Oh, so they
that's not shamanistic.
They're not shamanistic like most clans are. Like most werewolf clans are very shamanistic. They look their totem, the god refers to is literally a cyber spider. It's interesting. One of my favorites. My bad, but kind of stay away from the math. To go towards the future, the technology, and all that. I just like the whole tribe system in World of Darkness period for werewolves. You got like the Silent Striders, which are they're descended from ancient Egypt, and their werewolf form look like a moose. They're a very neutral tribe. They are essentially known as the messengers of the wolves. They're usually hired for to bring messages and things like that in nature. They're kind of very neutral. They don't really get involved in any combat or anything like that.
or social conflicts.
Yeah, they don't stay away from that. You have like the I forgot they're called silver. I think they're called silver lords. They descend from like old Britain and French and German warlords. They live in castles and shit. Like they're very kind of stuck in the Dark Ages. Very pompous, very arrogant. They believe they are the most pure of every shit. They believe they're the leaders of all the tribes, essentially. Like we're the only ones that can lead us to fight this dark force, the threat. That's all. I don't know. They're in the werewolf books, there's essentially kind of like a big bad that is threatening Gaia, and the werewolf clans fight against it essentially. And there are some who are more active, and there's some that aren't. Like I said, silent striders tend not to get involved in this conflicts. Then you have that's the stuff. Then you have like I said, with the silver guys, they believe they're the only ones who can lead everyone, bring everyone together under their leadership because it has to be them. It's their story. To fight against this threat. Then you have ones, like I said, like with the Red Fangs, where they look down on everyone else because they believe the werewolves should live amongst nature and in the wilderness and be feral. Stay away from cities and they hate the shit. And they're very violent. They're basically giant possessors. You have bone gnawers who are very they make everything with bone and they live on the streets and shit. They're very they're shamanistic, but they're very just live off the land. They don't believe in work for it and things like that. So usually when you see them, they're like bums on the street and they get information and gather and stuff. They also are kind of like silent agents fighting against this evil because they can be anywhere. The bomb sitting on your fucking step asking for change could be a bomb or you wouldn't know it.
Oh, like that. I actually did Charlotte.
Yeah, they're a lot like that. And they're very close with, I believe, they're called the Guy, I believe. They're big hippies. they're very in tune with magic, like shaman, druids, all that kind of shit. So stop. So yeah, I like all the tribe factions and how they
See, I
operate.
haven't dabbled in World of Darkness.
But those are the werewolf factions. I don't know about like the vampire factions. We got a taste of that.
I know. I've read a little stars.
Yeah. Now in Anthony's game, he's talked about a few of those, and they have wildly different views of how they treat humans and any other races, any other magical races and stuff. And those are courts.
Yeah.
That's how they hold courts. Like we've run into like the white court with those, where everything's very sexual, and they entrance you, and they're like draining your life as they're doing it. And that's why, like in the game, all of us that know,
It's not me.
we've been trying to keep your character away from the one fucking chick that we've had show up a few times. That's like, you don't look at it because you don't know about all this. We don't want you to be fucking affected or charmed by it.
That's why I like playing my characters. Like I'm literally playing like I don't know the game because I don't know the game.
Then you have
Making shit up like
the Nofs from undead,
I was told
fucking drain dry, cool fucking vampires.
and they look very much like Nosferatu, the vampire. They're very ugly, and this is what I was told when JT. They usually use some type of glamour effect,
Yeah,
so that they can actually go and interact. So,
because they're disgusting. Like,
like they will definitely turn that shit. They'll empty them. Just once.
yeah, you have the different ports and stuff like that, and how they interact with people. Some enslave humans, some keep them as essentially as food. Some interact with them, have them work for them. They might turn some of them to keep them as servants or attendants. I know when we played, I don't know if you played that game, but we played a vampire game that JT was running, and my character actually worked for a vampire who essentially was going to turn me at some point, but hadn't.
No, I heard about it. Because I was told that JT runs these games, but it's over a prolonged time.
Yeah, because every time he runs a World of Darkness game, it's in a set world he has.
But is it this world?
I don't know if he uses.
He used this.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
But it's they basically all. Every time he runs the game, it's the same characters. We might not be in the same place, but if there's a character that has existed in a World of Darkness game for him, they might show up here.
See, that's cool.
They're meant to interconnect. I actually like the idea of that. It's like, oh, okay, that's really cool because you might have some past character from sessions ago that might show up.
Yeah.
And that might be interesting. The one character that Reichman had a plot for his games that was a recurring character.
Yeah,
Stuff like that. I like that.
Sandra is just more interdimensional.
You did that in your game.
Yeah.
Sandrid was not even from your game.
There.
He was from fucking
From some other.
some of the damn systems. But you
No,
know,
I ended up as just fucking dimensions.
I can travel through dimensions, so that's how I showed up here. I like that.
That's like fun. That's just more than that.
No, I'm just saying, like the to do that. That's how he showed up here. That's like, well, how does it show up here? Bitch, I can travel through dimensions. I have a magical sword. Space time is my bitch. So
At this point, I'm be okay. Play more way.
I think that's
It's written on it.
I think that's the free dominant, idea. Everyone's kind of going that way.
I don't know. Yeah.
In our little group, I don't know how our guys in Kempner will feel about mostly playing just that because we haven't got to really do a lot of stuff with them.
Now that we know that JT has a $1 million game for the World of Darkness, I'm pretty sure he has no complaints about playing.
Or playing it because he probably won't be running it.
Why doesn't he? Oh, yeah,
I'm not saying he wouldn't, but since we already have one game going, You're about to be kind of running one, kind of. That'll be 2. I doubt he'll feel the need or want to have the need to run one as well. So I kind of feel like he won't even bother trying to run it. He'll just be like, "Oh, just play yours, and I'll run whatever the fuck I want to run," which probably won't be the way to practice.
Yeah.
So, and that's whenever he wants to run again. Because, from my understanding, you guys were playing a game that what Raven was running.
Yeah, she's running the whole waiting game going.
So,
And of course, me and Wyman's pretty sure, yeah, he's still running that second chapter of there, which no one doesn't remember what anything was going on. It's been so long since we
yeah, that's what sucks when we have that long gap. And
that's why I would rather
I kind of wish that we could get to a point where we could have just like one game that gets ran, and then we just kind of have a revolving set of DMs to run that game.
yeah.
And like someone's like, "I'm getting burnt out." Okay, we roll another guy in. You tell him everything that's going on and what you have planned, and then we just go with that.
Yeah.
And if he wants to take it in a slightly different direction, he can. And then you just do that.
Like I don't mind us freaking switching up playing games like once a week or twice a week. One time out of the month we play this thing, and then another week.
It just sucks when we play and it's like you play like 3, 4, 5 sessions like a month, right? And then you take like a 3 month break.
Yeah.
And then when you come back, it's like, well, I don't.
No one doesn't remember anything.
Not even that. Like even if you remember, it's like, well, I don't even know to run it anymore. I mean, that's something else. Which I understand. DM burnout is real, but it sucks when that happens because it's like, well, I got
another
character.
character.
To my character. I got to look at new characters. Like, yes. We might get tired of this game in 2, 3 weeks, and we'll end up doing something else.
There was actually my first actually full game. I had no problems running it there multiple times throughout.
That was a good game.
Yeah.
That was a damn good game. I had a lot of fun with that.
What was another game that was pretty good that I didn't mind running?
Starfighter. I did not like Starfighter. We didn't really talk about Starfighter.
Yeah, we didn't talk about our campaign and stuff.
We did not.
I remember everything. We mentioned the game.
Yeah.
I didn't play that last session there.
I mentioned it a little bit on my amazing double cross.
Astro told me about how the whole us getting captured thing happened. I remember thinking to myself, like, well, I wouldn't have put myself in that situation. Kind of upset.
Yeah.
That I got RP'd into the situation where I got captured. I'm like, I left them bitches at the space station. I had a whole other ship that was operational.
Well, that's why you said because Angel flew with Angel.
No, she did not.
That's
Me and John, we bought our ships and we took food.
John. Yeah. Well,
No,
man.
that's not what you say. I'm just thinking what's saying. When I told me about it originally, it was ranting to me. You sure about it? And that night, after you guys left, I was like, oh, he was pissed.
Oh, yeah.
And then you told me about it like the next day, and then I ended up talking to you.
Yeah, well, I was.
But when we just mentioned it again the other day when we were talking about it, I was like, me being there, me being me, and how I play my characters, how I was playing this character. Got up to the face. What the fuck is he talking about? We got.
It was supposed to be something that like you guys were still we're still teamed up. There was no definitive proof that we're gonna turn. So Angel went with your character on the other ship, and John and Shattuck were supposed to be on the other ship, and basically slowly moving into our own.
Yeah.
And that's what the dog cost was.
I didn't like that idea because that wasn't the direction our characters were going in. So I was like, well, no, we didn't even want to keep that ship for one.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
There was an island that we couldn't control. I was like, no, we didn't want the ship in the first place. I had no problems leaving it with Angel because she basically called dibs. So I was like, okay, keep it. You're gonna take all the shelf and go on the shit we just bought and paid a long money for it.
And I mean, as far as my character goes, like I told you before, there would be no reason for me to don't post this because I don't have shit. And why have my own trip when I just have you guys as contacts? I don't like playing fun systems.
Yeah. So I didn't like that, but I was like, well, I wasn't there for it. So if I would have been there, I would have handled myself completely differently. Like, bro, I'm not finna do that.
Like, if anything, I would have done this shit around turn you guys in, and when you guys are in, I give you something that will help you break out, and then I come in at the last second. You guys break out, and guess what? You guys will rich off of your own value.
I don't even remember what I did.
It's like you come in, it's you motherfucker. Don't you want
Yeah, but my guy doesn't talk. Just sitting there and chilling.
It's the same, Captain Jack.
You know, the end, it just kind of seemed to zag too much because of that.
Like, obviously,
And I just threw it down. I was just like,
obviously, as we know, that was the way to end the game for that.
And I think like the way, and even though it wasn't up to John or even
Yeah.
how you would want it,
Yeah.
I still think it was because it was going to where Johnny and you can turn you guys in, and I'm just you guys through with like, yep, I'm sorry guys. Bounty really good.
Sorry, guys. And, yeah, I'm a bounty hunter, and I'm just doing my man.
Yeah. But me doing the double fuss kind of alleviated things. Even though John was
But yeah,
because it's like you guys got a buddy out here, you didn't think she was going to do the buddy. Yeah. And he's a Sith. Now we just have to do. Now we have to do a Guardians of the Galaxy stuff.
are we gonna play a really cool mixtape of 70s, 80s, and 90s pop songs?
I mean, that would be your. That would be Decker's Sicko Dealio.
Nah, fuck that.
Nah, man, stop thinking on Decker, bro.
Fuck that.
He is the comic relief of your character.
Yeah, he is.
He's the balance that we have made. He's the
I think my character was kind of a straight man. He wasn't a funny guy. I played kind of more funnier characters. My fucking Riff's character was more of a straight coward. Always fucking.
And then even in my campaign, your character was very much.
Now, that was it. He was like, I don't trust you guys. Fuck you. Fucking Putin. Keeping myself. Wow, my character in the playing game was like, dude, what the fuck? No. That's fucking stupid. I'm not doing that. It's like, you have to go fight this demon.
No,
No,
I know.
The fuck I do? Yeah, that was my character all the time. Like, that sounds like the dumbest. Yeah, I'm not doing
So very comic relief looking crazy as a fucking character. He wish his accent.
I need you to hack this. Now I need some fucking juice, man.
Nah, dude, you need some juice. I can't handle this. Juice?
Decker, you're nailed. That's not how it works.
It's not the point, man. It's the thought. You know, you do all these things.
Yeah.
What do I care about all this? Yeah, I feel this relationship is one sided.
This is no relationship, Decker.
Of course it is. You're like my dad, I'm your son.
I can prove to you exactly what's happening. You do what I say.
so that relationship right there is one of the best things.
Oh, it's so good.
One Decker just dude from California, another day he's this Boston guy, another day he's British as fuck.
Every time Decker will just turn on and just start doing stuff.
He's hitting on other AIs and some shit that doesn't want to
He's playing Galaga.
Yeah, we can plug in.
I'm playing Steve. I'm playing Steve.
It's like, what's this place called? ER.
The fuck? Where is that?
Oh no, man.
What's really cool, man?
Downloads the internet.
Whenever now back up, I'm playing as a cat. I'm playing the cat.
Yeah, you were
tired of working with
you were going to play the cat. Waterman was going to play the gray of his character guy.
He was going to play the Greg.
Okay.
No, it's a race, but you're not supposed to be able to play it. We asked John about it. He's like, okay, yeah. Because you can't. It even says in the book, you can play it. It's non-playable, but races, but you can give a voice to him.
Yeah, I feel like he should create the characters out of like. What was that one movie with the two races that did Shaun of the Dead? And they did one where they were visiting Roswell and they actually found it.
I don't know, but if we're talking about the Ice Cream trilogy, Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and what was the third?
I think
I know the one he's talking about. It was one where like they find an actual alien and
they're still traditional.
they're like on like a road trip with like an alien.
Yeah.
Because they did 3 movies that all took place in that all happened. But they're called the Ice Cream trilogy. Yeah. Because there's always something about ice cream in the movies.
Yeah,
That's
remember when there's ice cream and he went to the freaking little store and he just grabbed an ice cream and then he left his piece there for the guy.
every movie. There's something about ice cream. I forgot
one and
I forgot what the one about Fuzz was. And then the first one was and the third one with the woman was in it. Because the main character was a douchebag.
Yeah.
And
he was trying to reach through 40 days and showing
at the end,
crazy fucking
at the very end of the movie, when he comes with his friends all day, he wants to get some ice cream for him and his boys.
I need to watch him. I never watched that.
The third one's it's not supposed to be.
That's what I heard it's
It's a little more serious.
Yeah.
But you don't see the ice cream joke to the very end of the fucking movie. Like, I don't know, the whole time I'm like, this is supposed to be a movie and an ice cream trilogy. Where's the fucking ice cream reference? What is the fucking reference? There's, oh, there it is. Right? Gotta make sure it's in there. So we gotta do it right.
Oh yeah, the aliens were. Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah, or I think there's one like pod people and everything. I just thought like near the end of the movie, but it was kind of like all people being like.
Well, they were basically being replaced.
Oh.
And essentially, the dude, if he had let everyone be replaced, they could have more peace. But he was just like against it. It was the big bad guy. He basically saved the world. But not really.
Goodness, buddies all the time.
Yeah, everyone died. But they weren't replaced with pod people. The world basically became post-apocalyptic. He did it because he had to, because. Yeah, but, yeah.
Either way, I think John should, if he's going to play in Vegas, it'll be released. Exactly.
Yeah.
I was actually going to play Gray, and I was going to have him run around pretending he's not Gray. Like, he's got the worst disguise ever. Like, he's like wearing like a fedora and like a pair of like cheap sunglasses.
You're gonna be Roger?
A fake, yeah, a fake mustache and some weird color like pink.
I mean, since your character is so serious, they might as well play
A lion shirt.
either I change the character, right? And I played the best of what
Batista.
Drax.
Drax?
like Drax.
I'm invisible. I am master movie invisible. You cannot see. You're like, dude,
I'm just super or
you
like,
is. Oh,
I just put my character right now and I just
or when he was inside of your little big worm face. But Jesus, dude, Drax is great. Dude is great. I was like, how does a character that's supposed to be serious end up becoming kind of Jesus, that's
super serious.
I'm like, this isn't supposed to be Drax's character? Well, I like it. I don't mind because it's so entertaining. Because Drax is supposed to be very serious.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be fun.
Yeah, he's always been a very serious character.
But I like how he went back because the reason why it's funny is because it's so little. It's just a serious Drax thing. So you can make it funny. It's like, if someone's so literal, it can just be almost stupid. You know?
Originally, Drax was kind of played in the comic books as being that stupid, but like he was so one-minded.
Yeah.
That like everything else just escaped him. Eventually, they worked out where he kind of comic relief there.
Yeah.
Because he was so minded that everybody else was just like,
Alright.
I heard that whole scene from where Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, and Iron Man meet the whole Genesis crew. You know, the whole morphine. Yeah, so they're looking for her. They're in the fog that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I heard that theme. I don't know that shit. Small summer was all for games.
Improv?
Yeah.
It might have been. It's always surprising when you find out what scenes of movies are like heavily improv. You're just like,
Make sure to finish it.
or oh wait, one. But then there's times where things are improv in movies too much, and it doesn't help the movie.
Real time.
2016. A lot of improvisation in that fucking script.
I've only seen pieces of it.
Too much improv. And you know who was from.
Yeah. The one you couldn't tell who she was going to be?
Them two.
So I'm going to bring up, speaking of comic movies, one of the Spider-Man movies, there was a scene where
Where dudes did something like that? No?
it's the same actor, but it's a scene where Mary Jane drops her tree. And he like finishes everything.
Oh,
Yeah.
the first one.
I remember, well, you know, he did that.
Oh shit.
Like it's like 100 takes, but actually that was actually done. It was not special effects. He actually did that whole thing where he was talking about stuff.
I thought it was weird cameras. It's like what everything's
It was like
strings.
it's like 100 takes to get that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I was watching a clip from the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movies the other day, and I was like, you know what? I really liked Andrew Garfield as Peter Parker. I don't mind those movies. I didn't mind those movies. I guess some people thought he was just too damn cool. I'm like, I'm tired of seeing Peter as a fucking lame. He's not always been portrayed like that. There's some versions of Peter that are cooler than others.
I mean, I remember he was a very robust.
Are you talking about Spider-Man 2, the 90s TV show?
It's like, bro, he looks robust as human, but then when you join Spider-Man, he looks pretty slick down.
Well, no, not really. It depends on like how he was drawn in that scene. There's some scenes where he looks jacked, like he always. So it depends on the scene and how he's drawn. Yeah, I wasn't a fan of that design even then. Like, he's a little too big. It's a little too chunky. Because Peter didn't get like big. He just got very slim and fat, and you know, got very
Wired.
yeah, but he was still athletic. But you know, he wasn't like jacked. He's not fucking Pete, bro. For Christ's sake. But design choices, you know, that's how characters were drawn in that shit. And that was the X-Men show was drawn like the Peter's character. Yeah, I mean, fucking J. Jonah Jameson, this old ass man.
J. James was buff.
The way he was drawn, he was like, even the actor was drawn fairly, like, you know, physique.
Neck, shoulders.
Yeah, most of the male characters were drawn like this.
Just their chin. I've been to New York. It's Jeff.
But that's just how the show was drawn. The male characters were drawn like that, all your female characters were drawn very voluptuous, you know, fucking slim bodies, and looking like they're good shit. That's just how the direction of the show was. I don't know why. I preferred X-Men. There was a little bit more variance in how the characters were drawn. Like, not everybody was like, jacked. You know,
Wolverine is short.
Wolverine was not really that short in the X-Men cartoon in the 90s. He wasn't? I mean, he was short, but he was. Dude, Wolverine's 5'3". Scott Summers, on the other hand, is like 6'2". Now,
He's shorter than me, bro.
it's supposed to be like a midget. That's why Secretive calls me dwarf. It's so fucking short. But if you look at that show on the screen, it's not short in the same series.
Now, speaking of muscle characters, I went to watch a special the other night on Netflix, and they were doing a creation of He-Man and Masters of the Universe. One reason they were all made so big was because the guy who invented them, one, the way you get the figure is better. We'll get more attention at it.
Big jacked up.
He was reaching into bodybuilding. Because he was a skinny guy, so he was like a huge fan body. So he made them all really. He actually took like a bodybuilder action figure, like small plate on top of it to make it even more muscular, and that was like his prototype. Or he made. And after getting all this stuff done, we have to listen for characters. So he sat down one day and he did sort of like an analysis based on body structure and height and everything of how much He-Man would have to weigh to be that big. You realize he didn't have to weigh like 750 pounds.
Yeah, because the old He-Man version, he's fucking huge. I mean, even like in the new reboot 2000s, it's fucking shit.
How much do you think a street shark weighs?
Well,
Zero shark.
considering that actual sharks can weigh nearly, yeah, maybe the street sharks are fucking heavy. They probably weigh as much as the goddamn fuck. They literally swam through concrete, bro. Those motherfuckers were dangerous, dude. And they weren't all sharks. Remember, there's a girl. Not well, him, and then one of the brothers was a fucking whale shark, which is a whale.
Yeah, it's like
One of them technically was a whale. The big buff duckling effect. How do I don't ask me how to remember this shit? It's useless knowledge. Who remembers biker lives for points?
It's awesome, you know.
it's like street rats.
I don't know what the fuck. I know
They're
biker.
literally rats.
I know what biker mice from Mars is. Biker mice, probably. They're rats that ride motorcycles, and they're from Mars because they're Martians. And one of them is a cyborg.
Yes.
Yeah,
I like the second.
That was like during the wild days of like after school cartoons.
Pirates, Dark Water.
Yeah.
What's another good show?
Anything back.
I kind of want them to redo that.
Magic School Bus, great cartoon, and great books.
Yeah. Well, something about.
I didn't really
Yeah,
know
careful.
the Nickelodeon fucking. I didn't know how to show. I read a couple of books in one day. Short reads, easy to pick up. What's good Saturday morning cartoon stuff that's not Ninja Turtles? I'm trying to think of other stuff because
Warner Brothers.
that's 80s, man. I mean that was 80s, early 90s. Depends. If we're talking about Super Mario Brothers Super Show, that's 80s.
That's 80s?
Bro, that's all.
I'm at least times. Like,
Yeah, Super Mario. That was
80s. Now, branch into the 90s because you have that one, you have the Mario cartoon, you have the Mario World cartoon. Yes, it was literally called Super Mario Brothers 3. And you had the Super Mario World. They were cartoons. You had the Legend of Zelda cartoon, you had Captain N, which was fun. Captain E, man. Love Enos. Fuck, man.
the show about the kid that turned into a floor.
It does.
It's a cartoon.
Jesus.
A cartoon.
Dad jokes.
What the heck?
It sounds fucking familiar, man.
Oh God.
She's really calling me.
That's word team.
I don't remember. It sounds really familiar. I watched a lot of shit on Cartoon Network back in the old days.
It's about this kid who like turns into a car. Morphs into a car.
I remember watching like old Marvel cartoons on Cartoon Network, and I remember The Thing had a cartoon, but it wasn't Ben Grimm. It was a kid that could turn into the Thing, and he was a superhero. I remember that. And he wore a ring, and he would say, "Thing ring, do your thing," and he would turn into the Thing. And that's how he fought crime.
Oh man. Shit.
I was like, this. And I'm watching the show as a kid, and this is someone who's reading Fantastic Four. I'm like, that's not Ben Grimm. This fucking loser poser out of here. Where the fuck is the rest of Fantastic Four? This was on TV? I would have been upset.
What else?
What was Speed Buggy? That show? Funky Phantom, all that old shit, man. I've shared a bunch of stuff on Facebook, like Heathcliff, Big Bad Beetleborgs. Hell yeah!
For I think it stopped.
That's the mid '90s.
I mean,
Big
I
Bad
did 90s kid.
Big Bad Beetleborgs is my
I grew
shit.
up
That was my shit, man.
in
I love some fucking Power Rangers and Big Bad Beetleborgs. I didn't like Turtles: The Next Mutation.
Oh,
Jesus,
where they added in
Such a
the
bad
female
show.
Ninja Turtle and
such a bad
Jason
show.
Jones. Was it Turtles?
I don't think so. I never
I've
seen
seen it in
that.
the show.
I've never seen that shit.
I heard of that.
Turning into a damn car.
Never seen it.
Let me see.
Like I said, it sounded familiar, but never seen it. Turbo Team.
Yeah, yeah, I remember that shit.
Turbo Team.
Johnny Quest.
I love
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Which one?
Not the older one, the later one.
Are we talking about
Where it goes off of the.
Hold on. Are we talking about the one based off the Archie comics that came on TBS? Yeah, TBS.
Yes.
Or are we talking about the one that came on Fox on Saturday mornings based off the video games?
Wait, the later video games where you got
The earlier games.
Oh, early games?
Sonic and Tails were the only heroes in that show.
Oh, okay.
Sonic ate chili dogs all the time.
Not that one.
No, we're just
That one was very, very American cartoony.
Yeah. You're talking about the one. You're talking about the one on TBS, the one where you had multiple.
The Freedom
different
Fighters.
Yeah.
Uncle Chuck. Hold on, let me hold the golden ring and I can use my powers to their maximum.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't like that show.
Why?
I don't know. But I do know one thing. Jaleel White played Sonic in both of them, so he was getting that bag. Jaleel White, aka Steve Urkel. Back.
He was playing as.
Yep, he played the voice of Sonic in both of those shows. My man was getting paid. Go listen to his voice again.
Wait, as Steve.
You,
Or I was.
it sounds the same. You hear Sonic and he's like, "You lose, Robotnik." And it's Steve Urkel. You're just like, holy shit. Wow.
Fine. Yes. Now I have to.
Blew my mind when I found out I was a kid. Like,
Yeah.
holy shit, that is a ball. I'm way past food. Oh, come on, man. Good shit. That was a great show.
I remember when they made the comics. I had one. No, I had two comics.
Archie Comics.
It was really.
Archie Comics, man.
Batman the animated series.
I have that entire series, all 4 seasons.
Class.
You're talking about the whatever one. Where was that?
Batman, that's what it's called. Batman the Animated Series. 4 seasons of greatness.
Yep.
Which one?
When I was on Fox.
Oh, okay.
The first one. What? Yeah, the one on Fox.
The one where it was very dark and grim. This is the one that.
Yeah, they got very filled water look to it.
Yeah. Okay. So that's I think after Superman came out, it was drawn in the same style.
That's the same series. The series ran for 4 seasons. They just changed the art style for the last season. And it was drawn more like Superman. Yeah. Same show. It was.
Mounted it too.
They started calling it the New Adventures of Batman and Robin. It was still Batman in the series. It was just the fourth season. Yeah, I know the joke. Fourth season's alright. There's a lot more crossover stuff, which is really cool. And then when Batman went off, Superman was still on. There's crossover episodes of the Superman show where Batman shows up, and they have Batman themed episodes.
Didn't they have a crossover with Wolverine in one of those? In the Batman's?
That's not that I know.
Either that or mixing it up with Amazing Spider-Man.
Spider-Man had a couple of crossovers with X-Men characters, particularly Wolverine, because he's appeared in Spider-Man a lot.
Who hasn't Wolverine had a crossover?
He's been on a lot of people's shit. Wolverine is a popular character. Always has been. Speaking of that, we found that Wolverine anime yesterday that I didn't know about. That I just found out yesterday. I was holy shit, I gotta watch that. One of these, I might watch it this week.
The Wolverine X-Men?
No. It's an anime called Wolverine.
Really?
I did not know about it. I've watched the X-Men animated. Because I know about the GTV X-Men anime, which is batshit crazy, but it's pretty fucking cool.
What's that?
You never seen that, man? Beautiful animation. It's only like 12 episodes, so it's an OVA. It's fucking gorgeous, man. Looks great.
Because that was one
The
show.
story for it is fucking like crazy though.
That was one show that didn't continue when they made it was set like I want to say late 90s, I think. There was an animated version of the X-Men, a new animated version where some of the X-Men characters are high school kids.
It's X-Men Evolution. Great show.
X-Men Evolution?
Great show.
But I don't remember it continuing.
They didn't. The last episode is supposed to lead into another season, and they didn't get to.
The last one I remember seeing.
Pop up in it.
The same thing happens in Wolverine and the X-Men. There's only one season of that. They are leading into season 2, and it's supposed to be the Age of Apocalypse story. And that's how fucking season 2 was about to start, and the show didn't get picked up for any of the season. I was pissed.
The last time I remember on X-Men Evolution was you find out Nightcrawler's mom is actually Steve. I don't know how true that is.
That doesn't happen. Does that happen next month? I don't remember. Yeah, it does, because she's posing as Rogue's friend Raven, so she can spy on the X-Men. I remember the last thing I remember in that show being a big thing was when there's the big fight with the Brotherhood, and Magneto's recruiting a bunch of goes on a huge recruitment. Colossus joins, Alpha joins, and they do really some shit to mutate.
Colossus joins? Magneto?
Cyclops even joins him. And he does this thing to mutate their DNA to further along the evolutionary process. So, like, when he does it to Havoc and Cyclops, in that show, Havoc didn't have full control over his powers. Huh?
Havoc's still subject brother. That's one off of First Class. One that shoots bladed out.
Havoc can shoot out. Sounds fair to say.
Just related to movies.
Yeah. Cyclops' brother.
Well, yeah, but
Sonic Blast, that's his power.
actually, he shoots cosmic energy. Yeah, it's kind of the same thing that Cyclops does, except he just focuses it for like but they both, interestingly, both get their powers from like cosmic energy, like cosmic radiation. But they have fantastic four powers.
Yeah. Cyclops, for instance.
And again, they choose.
Depending on who's writing Cyclops, like in the '90s cartoon, they point out the fact that Cyclops absorbs his powers of Superman. Gets it from the sun. Cosmic radiation from the sun.
They have done that too. Where
So there's an episode, in fact, where he gets deprived of sunlight after getting his powers drained by Lynch, and they purposely keep him in the sewers so he can't absorb the sun rays, so his powers can't recover. And so what happens is the leader of the Morlocks is trying to keep him as a lover, and they've already drained his powers, and since he's now been on the ground for a week, he can't use.
Was this around the Mutant Massacre storyline?
I forgot.
I think that was around the same time as the Mutant Massacre.
That was a great show too. Man. They dealt with social issues and shit. Because X-Men is always been one thing. But back to X-Men Evolution. Magneto does the process on Cyclops and Hack. And that show, Hack doesn't have full control over his powers. So you never get to see him use it until that time. He has him do a demonstration. Havoc has full use of his powers now. He blows something up. Fucking Cyclops comes out this little chamber thing. You see him take his visor off. He doesn't need it anymore. He can control his optic blast without it. I was like, dude, that's a dangerous touch. It's like you never know if he's going to use them or not. Man.
Was
Yeah, but I mean,
within those things.
yeah. So, not to mention they come out like older and like jacked. They put some like this evolutionary chamber thing, and they come out and they look like they're like in their 30s. And they're some shit. I was like, oh shit, what happened?
Who was the kid? The black kid that like his bones.
Spike?
Yeah.
Completely original character made for the show based on a Morlock named Marrow.
No, that's a cool character.
Yeah. They didn't use Marrow for this show. They made this character Spike and they gave him Marrow's powers. And then they made him Storm's nephew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, but I'm like, Storm doesn't have any relatives that live in the United States. She's African. Like, from Africa. No, because she's an orphan.
I was saying, I thought she.
So they played a lot with origin stories in that one.
They did play around with wonders.
Yeah, I like the fact that like in that show, Storm and Wolverine were some of the first X-Men. And they were teachers at the school, so that was kind of a cool choice. Like there was the first class was not not what it was, but it wasn't Cyclops and Beast and Iceman and Adam. It was like Storm and Wolverine.
Was he?
And Beast, yes.
Was he?
Yes, he was leading. So the first class in that show was like Storm, Beast, Wolverine, and then I think that was it. And then everyone else were like students: Cyclops, James, Rogue, Nightcrawler, Colossus. Even though Colossus was a Brotherhood mutant, though he wasn't part of the Xavier school.
I gotta really watch that.
That's a great show. Wolverine and the X-Men is a good one too.
I saw that one when I was.
That one's really cool because they go more towards the comic stuff. So there's already pre-established lore. These guys were already part of the X-Men. Something happened in the past. They ended up like going their own ways and stuff. They ended up having to join back up together.
Yeah, it's an alternative story.
Yeah, Wolverine gets called back to school to help out because Kurt's not there anymore, and I think something else wasn't there. Was he? Wasn't? I'm trying to remember. I have the show on. We might fire up the show after this. So I have the show down.
We have gone from tabletop gaming
To cartoons.
It's done to podcasts. You can just like edit it.
Well, we always do this. We always end up talking about whatever. We'll talk about the stuff we plan to talk about, and then we end up kind of drifting into whatever the fuck.
I mean, last time.
Yesterday, no, 2 days ago, me and him recorded. I meant for us to go for an hour. We went for like 4.
And we didn't know.
I was paying attention to the time. He was.
I didn't know.
Actually, looking at
Just talking.
I was like, man, we didn't know this for 4 hours. He said, what? And I was like, yeah, man.
That's released a couple hours.
Almost 2.5 of them. Wow. Yeah. Once we got off Tabletop, yeah. Because when we stopped talking about Tabletop, it was about an hour 40. Okay, Tabletop conversation started to end. Now we're kind of on cartoons now. But, I was trying to think of some more early 90s cartoons that was good.
Inspector Gadget. I love Inspector Gadget.
Great theme song. Dr. Claw, the villain, had a fucking menacing voice. I love that shit.
I love the fan theory that Inspector Gadget actually is Dr.
think I've heard. I've heard it before. It's like he's actually Dr. Claw because there's no way Gadget could be this as an inspector and be this stupid. So he's actually doing this stuff to he's doing other crimes, but stopping himself as Inspector Gadget, but getting away with other stuff. I've heard theories about the cat being the fucking brains. Dr. Claw isn't really a fucking person. Because you only see the hair.
It's framed from fucking Ninja Turtles.
Essentially. I want to say I've heard something with Penny and Inspector Gadget or something, as far as I've heard, basically solving all these crimes for stuff.
Yeah.
There's not
You pretty much did.
there's a lot of prevailing theories about that show. Damn, that's a good one, man. Jesus. That's a damn good one.
You gotta bring us Thundercats, right?
Yeah, that's a little earlier, but that's a damn good Silverhawks.
Transformers.
G-Force.
Transformers is like Dinobots, so.
Roman Warriors.
Ooh.
I love wrestling, bro.
I mean, since well, that's big Sailor Moon. Yes, you
Nope,
like Sailor
nope, nope.
Moon.
Man, I was on Twitter the other day. People were playing some of the Toonami promos. And they played a Toonami promo for Sailor Moon when they did the Sailor Moon this season.
Yeah.
Which is when you have all the Sailor Scouts and stuff and the whole thing with Mistress Knock and all that fucking shit going on and Pluto gets introduced and I was like, there was a chick staring at but she was like, this got me some hype for the show. I was like, I ain't gonna lie. I got hype for shit too. I was glad to see some new episodes of Sailor Moon. That was a whole fucking season because there was all this fucking shit going on. It was fucking batshit crazy and tons of stuff going on. Bunch of weird ass villains because that show has weird ass fucking villain designs. Yeah, those two non promos were hype.
Yeah.
So good, dude.
Big O.
Fucking love it, though. Also, respect to Steve Bloom. That man is the voice of my childhood. He played fucking the guy from Big O. He played Spike Spiegel. He played fucking Tom from Toonami. I love that voice. Love that motherfucker, man. So many great characters that he's played. Big O. Jesus.
Yeah. That's another show that it didn't run for long, did it?
No.
It's unfortunate.
You know what's funny too? When they first showed the final episode of Big O, I remember at the time they didn't air it.
Yeah, I know.
Like it didn't get aired till like months or years later. I remember, like I think it's episode 14. They
just kept on repeating episodes.
I'm like,
and then after that, it just didn't fully cover the show.
I'm like, why are they only playing an episode up to 13 and 14? And I don't know why. I think they aired it just one time. And it's crazy fucking shit that's going on in the episode. And then, what is it, City of Amnesia? Yeah, that's what it's
It's
called.
been a while since I saw
Great show, man.
Big O, Outlaw Stories.
Yep, Outlaw Star, man.
Dude.
Yes, it's so good.
I thought that
That one cool DVD that's like a DVD set for the day. It's got the fucking cool logo on the front. Yep. That. I know what I'm talking about.
I remember at like 15, 16, I think that's when they started playing Dogs late at night.
The best mecha show that never got a follow up. I'm a big Gundam guy, so when it comes to mecha, I can't go against it.
I like the Gundam games from Japan.
Which ones? Was a lot.
A specific one where you have to play it as an arcade, and it only costs you 100 yen per game, which is about $1, guys.
Do you like quality shoot? How's it work?
It's this pod, right?
Uh-huh.
From the door, you step inside and it's a chair, and you get 2 fucking controls, and
You
it's
follow the shoot.
yeah,
Jesus, that sounds fucking
and
awesome.
3 screens, so it gives you full.
So it's like an actual use. That sounds
And so first off is you take 300 yen, which is about $3. You go to this little kiosk for the Gundam game, and you push it in. You put in your money, and then you just put it in. Yeah, just get in your shit down. Prints you out a pilot's card. The pilot's card, you take that. You go to one of those pods. You stick your pilot's card in, and you stick 100 yen in, and it actually saves all your data.
That's like the initial D game.
Yes, very
The initial D game at the same time.
And the thing is, like,
It's a lot of
it's 100 yen. It's like 2 games, and they're both 15 minutes.
All right, tell me.
And any experience that you gain in the game, and the thing is, you're fighting not only just computers, you're also fighting with people that are playing. They split the clouds up. I think it's like one side is for whatever faction, the other side is for the other faction. And freaking, then you choose your factions. The thing is, regardless of what faction you're on, you're gonna get parts.
What?
And you essentially, every time you get certain gear and in different.
You can customize the most.
Yeah, that's where you do it at the kiosk, and it increases different things for your gun and all that shit.
Man, knowing me, because I'm just gonna gun. I like playing these lame ass suits, so I'd be like, I'm not even gonna play as a gun. And I'm gonna pick
You can't even do that stuff. You get basic fucking like the dudes can go into the one eye goes like that.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's where you pretty start off.
I'm used to like that.
Some basic ass block even.
It's like, bro, I like those. Like when I play the Dynasty Gunning games, I love using the basic suits. That's how I use. Like, oh, gun cannon? Let's go. I love it.
But basically, you have to get like higher levels to get like that crazy like being laid, all this other crazy shit, different types of body parts.
We're just he's talking about some perfect gunning game.
It's in Japan.
Where you pilot suits. I don't know which one it is.
It's in Japan. I don't think they have them. They should though.
There's a free to play RPG like combat game that sounds a lot like that. On PlayStation 4.
Yeah,
You know what it looks like? No, it's not. But it sounds like something. It's fine. Tons.
But it was dope. There's so many things like it was me and a buddy of mine. We spent one day on this. We dropped fucking so much money. I think it was $50, and we're just in this. And we up to like level 20 and shit like this. We're looking crazy shit. But in the game too, you can actually hit the comms button inside the pod and talk to your buddy. Yeah, it's because it's flying pods all at once. It's just your freaking section. And there's this one part where I'm on top of a highway in the that goes up, and he's down the bottom. I'm seeing him getting shot and shot at that. I just support you, and it was crazy as fuck. Like this guy's not doing because I was actually playing against another player, me and him both.
So you went this back in the military.
Yeah.
So this was
And for a minute.
What year was this?
2010. Maybe 2010, 2009.
Like 19 years ago. Sounds amazing.
Yeah. And what was crazy was like this game just fucked up. Even with my supporting fire, so it just dropped down and just came down with a suit. And then I just started coming in the battle and shit, just meddling with this guy. There's also other badass parts too where I shot these guys, he was flying, and he fell into the water. And when he falls in the water, you can't see him.
Right.
He can see you. So I'm just like, what the fuck? And all of a sudden, just like gunfire from the water. Like, fucking, I just jetted sideways and I'm shooting in the water too. Seven shit. I got a little bit of it on YouTube, like game. I literally took my camera, set it down right here, pointed up, and I was just yeah. It's dope. Man, I wish you got that experience.
And they're closing so many arcades in Japan now.
Dude, fuck.
One of these guys I follow on YouTube, he went to some old arcade. I forgot what it's called, but it's like a huge building. It just closed late last year, and it's basically meant to kind of replicate
what we had back in the childhood.
No. It's supposed to replicate like some really dingy part of China. And like as you go up the floors, it gets more and more fancy in the building. It's like a 5-story building. It's huge.
Yeah.
I forgot what it's called, but like everything like on the bottom floor is nasty looking, dude. And it's like it's meant to look disgusting. He's like even in the bathroom, like the stuff they have to like clean your hands is like really basic and shit. And there's nothing new looking in there. There's a lot of attention to detail. And I think it's like as you go up to the higher floors, it's more nice. There's less arcade stuff. It's more like lounges and stuff. Cinema. Like, there's beds you can lay out and fucking sleep in, like booths and shit, like rest. All kinds of really nice shit. Like as you kind of go up and stuff, and it's supposed to kind of replicate that kind of feel of, you know, fucked up city, higher class type thing.
Oh,
It's
this is in China.
no, that's in Japan.
Oh,
It's a huge fucking arcade, very popular. I just don't remember the fucking name. I need to pull up the video, but he recorded it, and, like kind of toured around it and stuff, and was talking about it. He did like audio over it afterwards because he went to Japan, and he's like, yeah, they just closed. Like he's like, when he got by the time I'm back here in the States and you see this video, that arcade will be closed. And he's like, it closed like that later that week.
yeah.
That was a fun week they were open. That sounds so fucking cool. And there's a few Facebook profiles I follow that talk about that a lot. Because it's a guy that's in Japan, and he literally just posts about arcades in Japan and stuff like that. And he talks about it a lot. Like, oh, this arcade, you know, another arcade is dying.
See, if I was a billionaire, it would literally just be, and I talk about this with a lot of friends. If I was a billionaire, I would literally finance the gaming industry, but make my own freaking company that made more games more affordable. More affordable. I would literally rebuild the gun game that I got. Yeah.
I appreciate, like here in the West anyway, that we have these bar arcades. Because, you know, we don't have arcades here anymore unless you're like in the Midwest or like East Coast.
You could find a Gatling. It's basic. It's not.
No, I'm just saying, like, I'm talking about traditional arcades.
You know,
Unless you're on the West Coast or the Midwest somewhere, or like in a big city, you're probably not gonna have them. So I appreciate here in like in the Western world that we have these bar arcades, man. They're kind of preserving the idea of, hey, arcade, go there to hang out. In some of the more seedier places, you're going there to drink and fucking smoke, you know? Because that was a big thing in the 80s and the 70s and stuff with these arcades. Yeah, kids went there to play video games, but adults kind of went there to hang out and drink and smoke and just bullshit.
It sounds like something.
Well, a great example of that is when you look at Tron, first movie, Flynn's. Like, yeah, there's a bunch of kids there. What's a bunch of fucking adults? Like, you know, they're not just hanging out. Now, I don't know if he served alcohol at his place, but some places did. Some places didn't care if you brought your own shit in. You know? They didn't have it there.
It was different age.
Different age, though. Different age, different time. I miss some of that stuff.
Yeah, makes me wish I was born.
10 years, man. 10 years. That's all I want.
Yeah, 10 years from now, I'd be 30.
I wouldn't mind being in my 40s now. That'd be cool.
I am in my 40s. It's not cool.
I'm only saying that if I could have like lived through the 80s and then the 90s, established myself in the 2000s when, you know, the housing market was complete shit, and then just be in my 40s like, oh, I'm still kind of comfortable now. So that would have been great.
I mean, in your 40s isn't totally bad. I mean, by this point in life, you know, you're a little more established, a little more comfortable in your life. Probably just still looking back, going,
Glory years.
oh, let's. I know.
Right. I feel like that now in my 30s. So.
I look back like last like 2 decades ago.
I think my last 10 years for me, fuck, man. I think about it all the time. It's like, fuck all the time in prison, dude, working out there and all the wild ass shit.
Not to lie, sometimes I think about the military.
Just, yeah.
and I have to like remember what sucked about it.
So let's not do that again.
Yeah, for a while.
It wasn't even like the gears. It's really just like going in training.
You remember the good times, then you have to remind yourself, oh no.
Not remembering the bad.
A lot of
Sometimes it was the worst.
times. Oh man.
Sometimes we did, sometimes we.
There were moments, there were moments when I was like,
I fucking hate this fucking time.
almost I think.
I feel like that.
Why didn't I fucking join the Navy?
Listen, man, there's times where I'm like, there's stuff that I was involved in and I'm not proud of it all. You know?
Yeah.
And it's like, yep, the shit that people complain about and say that, you know, we shouldn't do, yep, I was there for that.
You just kind of hope that stuff fades into the past and never comes up.
Yeah, man, most of the time it is. And then there's stuff where it's like, hey man, you don't know what's going on back here. Yeah, that happened, but let me tell you about all this time in pride. I'm saying, it's like that kind of shit. Laughing about stuff that's really gonna fuck up. It's like, oh man, that's such good times, but now that I think about it, yeah, I really think I'm so used to it like that. About something like, sometimes just, yeah. Something like that at night finish where we're doing something and I was like, yeah, we did this and this, and I was kind of laughing about it. You know, like, dude, what the fuck? I'm like, yeah, man, but it's the environment, man. Fuck. It is.
Yeah, but ever since I understood too, because it's like, oh, I know what you're talking about.
It is what it is.
Man, that's pretty much like in the military too. You
Yeah.
find that a lot here in the Fort Hood.
But I think we're gonna call it here. But give it a rap ski. Because now we're just kind of droning on.
Yeah.
And I kind of want to watch X-Men. Do that while I'm podcasting. So
For that.
thanks for tuning in. We're gonna leave you with some music here. And we'll see you guys next time. Deuces.